Hey, everybody, it's Friday.
Yep.
Finally, here we go. I got a real drink instead of just that twisted tea stuff. Mm-hmm. Which is fine, but you know what I mean.
It's sweet tea with vodka.
Yeah.
Made that tea today.
Uh-huh.
Brewed that shit long, too.
It's good.
Yeah. Got 2 cups of sugar per gallon.
Oh, well, that's not good, probably.
Yeah.
That's all right. I haven't eaten hardly anything today.
That's real fucking redneck fucking sweet tea. There's no lemon in it.
Yeah, I noticed.
No lemon.
Not real lemony.
Doesn't really need it.
Gramthars says, thank you very much, Gramthars, for the gas money.
Yeah. He was asking the question, how you like the job so far?
It's all right. I've had worse jobs.
Yeah.
I honestly,
it's just this far. It's a long drive. That's
I think that's kind of like the major issue is the commute. And today was kind of a real clusterfuck because I was like, woohoo, it's Friday, and then I hadn't even left Daytona, and there was like a well, it wasn't even a wreck; it was a car on fire, and I didn't know that until I got up there. But everyone was just sitting on US 92, and I was like, what the fuck is going on? It's like I couldn't see. Right, I couldn't see what was going on because everybody was just stopped, and I was like, well, Jesus Christ, is it a wreck? Is it road work? What is it? And then finally I get up there, and there's like a burned out car on the side of the like smoldering car on the side of the road, and like the cops are just standing around going, whatever. So I was like, so everybody stopped to gawk at a burned car.
Could you even see the body?
I don't even know if somebody just set it on fire or... I mean, it must have happened a long time ago because that's all that was left was, like, 2 cop cars. It's like there was no ambulance or nothing.
Yeah.
So it's like, I don't know if somebody just, like, stole the car and then just left it and set it on fire. I don't know. It didn't look like there had been a body in it or a wrecked or anything like that, but it didn't smell... I didn't smell pork or anything. I'm just saying, that's,
Usually when a body's burning, it just smells like burning hair. Usually what it smells like. I've smelled them before. It's like, oh.
Well, I was just being funny.
Poor
so. But yeah, so it's like I was just kind of like, I don't know. It's funny because the first thing I thought was that I just sat here on 92, not moving for 15 minutes, and then I get up there and it's like a burned car that everybody just like stopped to look at, and I was like, yep, that's Daytona. Never change. Never changed, Daytona.
Okay, looks like people piling in. We got, looks like a lot of the regulars are there, and it is another Friday. And we were ushering you out of the work week and into the weekend. Okay? We're taking you to the stars. We're taking you to see the UFOs, Bigfoot, all the damn serial killers, wherever they're hiding, paranormal stuff.
Hopefully not in here.
We're talking about, we can talk about, we've taken you to the movies. We've taken you to Jenny's taking you to where the books are written. And we're just getting ready to chill out for the coming weekend. Need some music in the background. That'd be nice. Some fucking space music whenever I do the intro. And then...
like I have time to like look for that shit. I don't have time to do that.
You guys can put on your music in your house, and we're gonna talk you all to sleep. Or something.
Yeah, I was gonna say it's a little early to go to sleep.
A little bit early to go to sleep.
It's only 7:30. Well, depending on where
some
you are.
Some people are getting ready to go to the club.
We're on the East Coast.
Some people are in their commute.
I mean, what was I gonna say?
Some people are already in bed.
What was I gonna say? You said something and it reminded me of something, and I was like, oh, I gotta say something, and then you kept talking and I forgot.
See, Louis. Looks like Louis there. Yeah, Louis in there. Louis, guess what, bro? Got a package arrived today.
Yeah, should we do like a little?
Do the thing,
okay, yeah. We just got this today because I just got home like half an hour ago.
This is our Hernandez tribute.
Louis Hernandez sent us. Look, it's a little. It's not technically unboxing because I already opened it.
Yeah, we know what it is.
We know what it is. But yeah, look what he sent. Look what he sent.
Great selections. Haven't seen either one of them.
We got
Black Hawk Down. Never seen it.
Yeah, I've been wanting to see that actually. I haven't seen
it. I'll tell you what, Louis. In the gun scene on GunTube, there's a custom Colt Commando called the Gordon Carbine that has inspired a lot of fake builds based on that guy's Colt carbine in that movie. And I've seen stills of it, and I've seen guys who have faked that M4 carbine. It's a type of M4, I think. But now I have some context of why everybody wants that damn gun. Well, I'll see it. I liked the damn Blood Diamond XM177. I got a reproduction of it. If you guys see that one. Okay. Now, the next one is
the next one is Highlander.
Highlander. That's the Highlander series, or is it the first one?
I'm not sure.
Is there one movie in there or two? Can you see?
No, I can't see that.
Okay.
But yeah, it's nice. It's like it's a steel book.
Okay, Highlander.
That's a really look at that cover. Yeah. That's awesome.
I remember seeing that one when I was a kid. I loved it.
Yeah, it was like this is really good. I haven't seen it in a long time.
I haven't seen it in a long time. They had what was his name? The gherkin? No, what was his name? The gherkin. The gherkin is a damn fucking pickle.
Yeah, it is.
The Kurgan. That's what it was. He was fighting the Kurgan. The Kurgan, yeah.
He's a pickle monster.
Of course, because my name's Candy. He goes, of course you are. I remember that.
Thank you, Ian.
Thanks, Ian.
Alcohol money.
Alcohol money.
We need it.
We need some of that.
We need some of that. Yeah, it's like Gramthars says, what does Tom do all day now that you're away? I don't know.
I went riding today. Cooked. I went to Momiji.
Did you really?
I went to Momiji.
You suck.
I said, fuck it, man. I'm going to get some fucking sushi. It's just up the street.
You suck.
Yeah, I went there for lunch.
That sounds good.
Yeah, see, now he made me rat on myself. But I'll just watch movies or...
You weren't going to tell me?
Because
I was just thinking about that the other day that we hadn't been, and I was like, man, I missed that place.
You should see it. She comes home. I was cooking, getting us some sandwiches ready. She came home late. I was checking the messages.
Because of the car fire.
Yeah, I was checking the messages to see if something went wrong with the car, but it seemed all right. She comes in, man. She looked tired as fuck. I was like, so I guess we're not going out tonight. She said, no.
Well, I said Memento is tonight.
Yeah, but you won't be able to make it. I can just tell. You didn't get any sleep.
Yeah, I've been up since 4.
We'll go tomorrow to Mannequins or something. But
I mean, I feel bad because we missed the last couple of Mementos, but it's like it's just hard to get to.
So she comes up here to get ready for the show. And I was already kind of ready. I come up here, man, and fucking see her, and she's all dolled up. You know.
Well, yeah, I had to get ready really quick because I was running late.
And I really hadn't seen her much in a couple days. You know, she's running around in this little fucking short Wednesday Addams looking dress, all bare-legged and everything. I was getting ready to throw down, man. She had to fight me off. It's like, don't mess up my makeup. It's like I'm not doing it over again. I'm not gonna mess up my. And I tried to reason with her. It didn't work.
Because I know how you reason. I never listen to what you say because it doesn't mean shit. All I know is how you act. Like, he'll say all kind of shit, but it doesn't matter. It doesn't.
Man.
It doesn't mean anything.
I'm trapped in my own personal hell.
Are you really? No, you're not. What are you even talking about?
Oh, man. I'm just trying to get laid, that's all.
Well, I was just, I was like, look,
looking cute, man. Looking really cute.
I just got home.
I know.
I was cranky because I was in the car for like an hour and a half.
Take a picture of this and fucking post
Can I talk?
Okay, go ahead.
I was cranky because I was in the car for like a fucking hour and a half, and I thought I was never gonna get home because that stupid wreck. I was like stuck in Daytona. And I was just like, Jesus Christ, it was getting dark, and my night vision's bad, so I don't really like to drive after dark.
If you guys could see her from this angle,
can I please talk about something else? Jesus Christ.
Go ahead.
And then like we're sitting here like before the show starts, and I'm trying to tell him something about like money and stuff, and he keeps doing that. I'm like, I'm trying to talk to you.
I'm trying, and
he's not listening. He's not listening.
And I'm on trend too. I'm fucking about 30 days into trend cycle, but it's got a grip on me.
I mean, it's very frustrating that it's like I just feel like I can't. Like, I had to come home, and it's like I had to get ready for the show. It's like I had to stuff a sandwich in my face real quick, and then and I had to like change clothes. I had to like fix my makeup. I had to like put the wig on. I had to go to the bathroom. I did like there's like millions of things I had to do, and he's just like in here like trying to climb on me, and I'm just like, look,
She does not appreciate.
I was like, please,
She does not appreciate my love.
Well, because it's always like at times when I'm trying to do something else.
That's when it's the best. That's man. It's just,
well, that's why, because I'm getting like really annoyed because I'm like, look, I got shit to do. It's like, why are you?
It's just that spontaneous thing. It's just seeing you do your thing. You know what I mean? And I'm just like going, oh yeah. It's like a big mouth bass sitting at the bottom of the pond, and the lure goes by. You know what I mean? They just can't resist it. You're looking fantastic, and just all the stars were aligning, and for me, you were like, get the fuck out of here. But hey, man, look,
because I was trying to get ready for the show.
It's like, there's going to be a show, all right. There's going to be a show.
I don't know. I just feel like that's all you ever talk about. And it's like, I'm trying to talk to you about other shit. And it's
that's
like,
all I talk about?
Yeah, and it's
that's
just
all
like,
I talk about, okay.
And it's like, I can't.
No, that's not true.
Like, I'm just trying to talk to you about serious shit, and you're just like over here, like, pawing at me and everything. And I'm just like, are you listening to what I'm saying? Or...
Yeah, I was listening.
What's going on? It doesn't seem like it, though.
I was listening.
Doesn't seem like it.
Mm-hmm.
Slasher Fred said, one of these days, you should watch and review Class of 1999.
Yeah, I remember that.
Yeah,
one.
okay.
I remember it.
Tom's Inglorious Bastards says, Tom, you need to make Jenny a special Valentine's dinner. He makes special food all the time.
Yeah,
now.
every day is a special day. Yeah.
So I don't know. It sucks because Valentine's Day is on a Tuesday.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like, obviously I'm gonna be working all day. So it's like we're probably not gonna do anything, which blows. But whatever.
You'll be back so late.
Yeah, I won't be back till 6.
Might be able to do Momiji's.
Yeah, we've never eaten dinner there, have we? I think we've always gone for lunch. I mean, well, the thing about it though is that every restaurant is always slammed. Like on Valentine's, a lot of them you have to get a reservation.
Yeah, we'll see. Might be able to do it.
Maybe, I don't know. You have to check. And some of them have what a lot of restaurants do too, because when I used to work and I used to do all the ads for all the restaurants and stuff, they do like what do they call it, like a prefix menu or whatever. Yeah. Like they only have so many things.
I can look and see if I can make a reservation for that.
Like I said, I don't know how expensive it's gonna be.
It's gonna be expensive.
Well, that's what I'm saying. So it's like maybe we shouldn't bother. I mean, you already ate at Momiji today without me, so.
You were at work. You were at work. I couldn't bring you with me. You were at work.
I ate a tuna salad sandwich.
Yeah.
Tuna salad out of a pouch.
Nah. I was fucking you over, man. I know. I was cheating on you with Momiji.
He's cheating on me with food.
Yeah.
He's going out getting good food.
Yeah, I was cheating on you with Momiji. Well, I was sitting there. I was going, man, I didn't want to cook.
Yeah.
I didn't want to cook. And said, I haven't had it. I said, I want some sushi. Well, know what I really wanted?
What was that?
I really wanted Chinese buffet.
What, like Koi Wan?
I wanted to go to Koi Wan, but it was too far.
Yeah, Koi Wan's kind of far from here.
Yeah,
now.
And I was like, man, once you add up the price of Koi Wan and the fuel and everything, I could just go to Momiji's for that. Probably be cheaper.
I mean, it's much closer.
Yeah, it'd probably be cheaper. So I went to Momiji's. It was our local sushi restaurant. It's good. Real good.
It is really good.
I got that lunch special with the 3 rolls.
Yeah.
And then, you know what I did? I spent the extra $5 and got the damn ice cream.
I never got ice cream in there.
It was 2 big scoops of green tea ice cream with chocolate syrup on the top of it. With, what do you call it?
Man, you got all the good shit.
Yeah.
I'm just going to
I was looking at it, I was like, the prices
tonight.
And then it had whipped cream. And I was looking at the price. They wanted like $5. That's kind of steep for a scoop of ice cream. It was 2 big ones. 2 big scoops of ice cream.
Yeah,
in a bowl that was standing up on an angle.
Neat.
It came at me like a TV set. I was like, what the fuck is this?
It's the green tea ice cream.
Yeah,
TV
I was like watching green tea on television. What the fuck?
It came at me like a TV.
Yeah. I checked it out for you. I did a recon.
Okay, thanks. That's how you're gonna.
They had another.
That's how you're gonna play.
They had another ice cream that was more expensive.
What kind of?
I don't know. It was.
Oh, it was a secret?
No, it had a funny name. I'd never heard of it. I can't remember. And it looked like the photograph next to it looked like it had a dragon fruit next to it or something.
Oh, okay. So maybe it's
it was reddish fruit with green and shit.
Green and shit.
Yeah, it looked good, but I didn't recognize it. It was something foreign, kind of foreign ice cream.
Yeah. Foreign ice cream.
Yeah.
Gramthars says Graham is getting a vasectomy next week.
Shit, what for?
The urologist said I have to flush my vas deferens 20 to 25 times to get my seed fully cleaned out. Question: should I burden my wife or just shoot ropes to porn?
It's ridiculous, man. Why are you doing that? Just go on test. It'll shut down on its own. Fuck. I wouldn't do that. Unless you think you're going to get some kind of cancer or something.
Ian England says, I've wanted to try Trend so fucking bad. Everybody says it's the shit.
Trend is the shit, but the first one really fucks you up. That first cycle, I was crazy on that first cycle. I was barely holding on.
You were.
Yeah.
You were all over the place.
Man, I was having emotional problems, man.
Uh-huh.
Jenny got me through it, and so did Sophie. Sophie got me through it too. Fucking, I'd start having emotional problems and shit, and fucking and tell Soph, I'm doing this, I'm doing that, and I don't know if I should tell Jenny. He goes, no, you can tell her that, because I didn't want to look weak. You know what I mean?
That's dumb.
So I had to check with somebody else. You have to be on trend to understand it. It's not.
No, but
normal.
I've told you.
It's not normal psychology because your progesterone's fucking going crazy.
I told you that's what I'm like all the time. So it's like I didn't really understand like why.
So I had to check with her. I had to check with a buddy first. You know what I mean? Somebody I could be vulnerable with. You know what I mean? Because I didn't want to look weak in front of you. It's just no, it's all right. And then I go whatever problem I was having. I tell you, I don't remember everything though now. Because, you know what I mean? It was mostly emotion. It wasn't a lot of fact.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I
was imagining things.
Yeah, you got real paranoid.
Yeah, I was imagining stuff. It wasn't. I wasn't getting upset over anything that was real. I thought people were talking about me. I thought Jenny was cheating on me. But I knew I was hallucinating that.
Yeah.
It's
because I'm like, who'd you think I was cheating on you with?
I knew I was
the dude in the closet. I never leave the house.
It was. See, I'd done all my research. Who is it that asked that? I don't have my glasses on.
Ian,
yeah. Ian, you listen to all the trend stories. You can go and look at fucking more plates, more dates. Old fucking Derek. He's got a whole section of videos of people that's mailed in their trend stories to him. And that's the common theme. They said, you better watch it, man. That'll fuck up your relationships. But there's mostly young guys, that have problems. So I knew that I would probably start thinking like that. And it took a while, but I started to. But I recognized it, As long as you're aware of what it does, you're not fooled by it, But you still feel it. But it's bullshit, though. It's like it's not a justified emotion. It's just weird suspicions. Get suspicious. Think people are talking about you. You feel like Superman, but then you also feel inadequate at the same time. Which that's weird. Because you feel like pregnant Superman. Like pregnant Superman. Yeah.
What if there's porn of that? Yes, I just answered.
It's weird.
Question.
But on this second cycle, and I'm doing more of it. Okay, I'm doing 50 milligrams a day. I've just built up a tolerance to it, I guess. I'm emotional, but it's not negative.
Yeah, you don't seem to be acting all that weird. Mm-mm. Not like before. But the thing about it was that before, you weren't telling me a lot of stuff, so I didn't really know what was going on until later on.
I was getting paranoid.
That's what I mean.
Yeah.
Like I didn't notice much of a difference until later when you actually started talking about it because you didn't tell me anything.
But I knew it was my imagination.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. Like
there's no way to describe it.
But see, that's the thing. Like I told you, I mean, I kind of feel like that all the time and have ever since I can remember. But I also don't tell anybody about it because why would I?
All right. Well,
I don't want to burden anybody else with all my emotional problems. You know what I mean?
Well, what's funny is you're having on trend, you're having all these weird emotional issues, but there's no issue. There, you know what I mean?
Right.
There's nothing causing it, and that's the thing that's really fucks with you. You know, you're like, I feel this way, but there's no reason for me to feel this way. It's just emotion.
Yeah. Well, I have that. Well, I have that like about various like anxieties and things like that. Like I'll feel anxiety about something, then like the other half of my brain is being like, "Why are you anxious about that?" Yeah. Either A, you can't do anything about it, or it's probably not as bad as you think. Yeah. But it doesn't matter. I still feel like that anyway, and it's like fucks me up. You know what I mean? So that's me all the time.
See, Ian, if you do test is all about confidence and positive kind of energy and. test just feels normal to a guy. It feels good. Tren, it's a nandrolone-based molecule. It's kind of like test, but it's like its evil. It's a little bit like nandrolone too, but it's kind of like its evil twin. And it just causes your body to react by putting out a bunch of fucking progesterone, which guys don't have a lot of progesterone normally. So you just start becoming like a woman, I guess. You just...
Not fun, is it?
No.
I told you.
No. But it was just that first one. Just that first cycle. The second cycle, it didn't seem to affect me the same way. Because your system learns, once it comes in contact with this stuff, it'll figure out how to process it and kind of normalize in your system. So I think what's happened is that it now recognizes it for what it is, and it goes, oh, yeah, I've seen this before. It just does this. This is what it's for. And it puts it in the receptor and then fires off some signals just for muscle growth and other stuff. And it makes you very lean. It starts burning a lot of fucking fat off you. I mean, you just fucking sweat constantly. Wake up, sweats at night. It just greasy sweats. You just lose a lot of fat. But it feels a lot better than it did. Although I don't approve of Tren. Tren's a last resort. It's very cost effective, but I don't think it's too good for you.
Zach says, same with me, Jenny. I hate it. Yeah, I do too, but...
Who said that?
Zach.
Okay.
It's hard to explain to somebody that doesn't feel like that, but... I don't know. I think about this a lot because I'm just kind of like, well, I hate being like that, but if I try to be another way, like, I wouldn't be me anymore, and I don't think I would like that either. So it's like, I can't really win. You know what I mean? I don't know. I don't know what it is. I don't know what my problem is. I probably need therapy, but I can't afford it, so fuck it. Tammy says, Jenny, there's a movie on Freebie written by Nick Cave called The Proposition. It's a Western type, stars Guy Pearce. I've seen it. It's actually really, really, really good. Nick Cave has done... I think that's the only one he's written the screenplay for, if I remember correctly. But he's scored some films, though, too. Like, he's done some Westerns. I think he scored that other... God damn it. What was the name of that other Western? The Assassination of Jesse James by the Coward Robert Ford. I think he scored that movie. And there was a couple other ones, too. It's like him and... that other dude that's in the Bad Seeds, whose name I can't remember.
Oh,
Warren
no,
something.
Is that Lane or Ian, England?
Ian, okay.
Yeah, that's right, because that would be a capital L would be there. Okay, yeah.
Yeah, that's an alternate spelling of Ian.
Yeah, I've never seen it spelled.
Yeah. Well, there's two spellings. Some people spell it I-A-N, and some people spell it I-A-I-N.
Yeah.
Trey says, hey guys, I'm at work, so I can't stay. Be cool, everyone. Aw, that's a shame. But, gotta make that money. Gotta make that money. Just like I gotta do. Michael says, no need to work. I offered to pay for a room. What does that mean? What, I don't have to work anymore? Awesome. Someone's just gonna pay me to stay home? I would like that. But yeah, I mean, I got a lot of freelance work I gotta do this week too. So with this weekend. But that's more money, so, But like I said, I'm kind of like, I'm going to have to buy a new car at some point. Because the car I got is, like, really old. And I'm really, like, scared that...
if you keep this job.
Yeah.
You may not.
Yeah, we'll see how it goes. Like I said, I like it. It's just, it's very far. There
other things might come your way. You just have to see.
Yeah, I'm keeping options open, always.
Yeah.
Zach says he also did the music for the Marilyn Monroe movie. Really? Oh, I'd forgotten all about that. And I was convinced it was Trent Reznor and the other guy who Fincher always works with. Well, shit, now I'm really going to have to watch that. I know I kept saying I was going to see it, and I just never got around to seeing it. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Somebody asked if we were going to review Megan. I've been wanting to see that because there's, like, so much buzz about it, but I guess we'll have to wait for it to come on streaming because we never go to the damn movie theaters anymore.
Yeah, well, I killed my AMC.
Yeah, I did too, because like I couldn't afford it anymore because we never went.
Never went anyway.
So, it's so far.
You would think there'd be one out here.
I think there's a movie theater closer, but I don't think it's an AMC. I mean, there wasn't when I checked. You would think there'd be one in Mount Dora, but I don't know if there is. I mean, I didn't think so.
Yeah.
Zach said, also, I think a show about Marilyn Monroe would be awesome. Yeah, I did write that down.
Her death, right?
Well, yeah, just kind of like...
There's a Kennedy connection there.
Somebody asked us to do a show about the JFK assassination, too.
Yeah, that's a big subject, though.
That's what I was going to say. It's like maybe...
And go ahead.
I was going to say that maybe... now that I don't have as much time to like do researches for the show, so I've been trying to like pick some stuff for the polls that's like easier. You know what I mean? That's like not like super complicated because I won't have time to like get into it as much.
They tried to declassify that stuff, and I think they reclassified it, but recently. But I believe it basically leaked that they killed him. CIA had something to do with it, which I'd probably means that book that I read about it, it's called Mafia Kingpin. I think it was called Mafia Kingpin, I think was the name of the book, that laid out a real compelling case. I read it a long time ago. Guess that was 90s. There was an Italian mobster in New Orleans. His name was Carlos Marcellos. And he was friends with Edwin Edwards, who was a local politician who ended up being the governor. He was friends with him because he was an inmate trustee that works at the mansion, and that's at the governor's mansion, and that's how he met Edwards before Edwards was the governor. Marcellos got out of prison, was still friends with Edwin Edwards, and they ran some rackets together with slot machines, getting slot machines into local bars. They were divided the money. And so Marcellos and the guy that ended up being the governor of New Orleans, of Louisiana, they were buddies. They ran together for a long time. Marcellos met this other dude eventually, who was an ex-CIA agent. He was a gay guy that had alopecia. He said he was very bizarre to look at because he always wore a wig and he had his eyebrows painted on. And that guy, an ex-CIA guy, was running this thing called the Free Cuba Movement, working with Cuban rebels. And they were trying to retake Cuba, and the mob was involved, and a lot of American politicians were involved in retaking Cuba. And the Kennedys did the Bay of Pigs thing where they betrayed those Cuban rebels that the CIA was funding. Marcellos was involved in that. Well, Bobby Kennedy ended up being the head fucking district attorney. What do they call that guy? In charge of the federal shit. What's that guy's name? What's the name of that time? Anyway, they were going to stamp out the mob. The Kennedys were. And Marcellos, who was part of the Italian mob, got pissed off at that. And he hooked up with that CIA guy. And then they found this other guy named Lee Harvey Oswald, who was in that Free Cuba movement. And to avenge the Free Cuba movement, they planned that assassination. But he wasn't alone. There were other ones. According to that book, there was about 3 shooters. The other 2 got away. So when they caught Oswald, he said, "I'm a patsy." He was probably telling the truth. I think he shot. I think he shot. At least one of his rounds probably hit the president, but he wasn't the only one. They gave him up on purpose. He was going to be the patsy. Then a few days later, they silenced him. They sent another gangster named Jack Ruby, who was connected in with Marcellos and all that guys, and they killed him to silence him. And then Ruby died in prison, and died of cancer in prison, and he said that he got injected with cancer while he was in prison. And it was a suicide mission because he'd fallen into debt. He owned a strip club. He'd fallen into debt to the mob. They were going to kill him. And they made him a deal. They said, "Look, if you kill that Jack Ruby guy, we know you liked the president. If you kill Jack Ruby, you avenge the president's death. We won't kill you. You can go to prison, and your surviving family members, we won't kill them. So that's why he did it. That's why Ruby did it. So yeah, man, and I think that's what they tried to declassify, because I kept hearing little details about that case. I think even Oliver Stone had found some of this stuff out. So I think that book was correct about Marcello's, the ex-CIA contractor guy who was doing the free Cuba thing, and the Kennedys. It had to do with that. And trying to stamp out the mob. Kennedys trying to stamp out the mob. What's the name of the big district attorney on the federal level? What are they called? What's that? Bobby Kennedy became
the Attorney General.
Attorney General.
Michael said, "Did you guys
or they were going to make him Attorney General? I don't remember.
Did you guys ever review Heat? We did, didn't we?
I thought we did.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure we did. I think it wasn't too long ago either.
Yeah. It's a decent movie. It's got a couple good.
I still want to do Casino as well, because I remember really, really liking that, and I haven't seen that in a really long time. Tom's Inglourious Bastard said, I saw the new Cage Western flick. Oh, the one with Nicolas Cage in it. It's not that bad. Cage killing banditos. Caging the fuck out. Man, he's in every movie now. He must be like, how much money does he need? It's like he's in every single movie, it seems like. It seems like every time I open a new streaming service, it's like, well, there's a new Nicolas Cage movie. How does he have time? I don't really know. Let's see. Okay, here's all the stuff about JFK. Yeah, Casino is good. Yeah, I think I saw it in the theater, and I remember really, really liking it a lot, and I've been wanting to, like, rewatch it. I was laughing because when you mentioned the strip club, I was thinking that...
What strip club? Jack Ruby's strip club?
Yeah. Okay. It reminded me that on my drive to work, I passed the famous strip club called Soft Tails.
Okay.
And their sign... And it's funny because I remember passing it a long time because it's been there forever. I remember passing it a long time ago, and their sign still says the same thing, which is 23 pretty girls and one ugly one. And it's like, I always remembered that. And I was like, I passed it the other day, and I was like, that fucking sign still says that after all these years.
Where is that? Daytona?
DeLand, actually.
DeLand?
It's in DeLand. Yeah.
It must be a biker strip
It's
club?
like a biker strip club, yeah. It's been there.
Have to go check that out.
It's been there as long as I can remember.
But they're probably all ugly in there, aren't they?
How would I know? I've never been there.
I have to go check that out.
It's just...
While you're at work, I'm going to go check that out.
Man, he's going to go eat sushi. He's going to go look at strippers.
Yeah, I'm going to live it up, man.
Must be nice. While I'm out slaving away for the money.
I'm not going to do it.
I don't care if you don't. Like, whatever. Just whatever. But I thought it was funny because I remember that place, like, having that sign from a long time ago, and I just laughed because it still has it. I mean, you know, it's a funny line, so I guess they're like, why change it? Why change it? What's up, Pokey? She came up to see if I thought she was mad at me because I'm not home as much anymore.
If you ever want to have a good time at a strip club, you got to take Jen with you. Every time fucking me and Jen went to the strip club together, we had a fucking great time. Fucking strippers love her.
Strippers love me.
Yeah.
Well, I told you before, any strippers, because we know some.
Yeah.
Strippers like women to come to the strip clubs because they're sick of, like, gross-ass men being in the strip clubs all the time and having to deal with that every day.
Yeah. They went up there and fucking complained to her all night.
Right. So it's like, so when there's a woman there, they're like, oh, thank God.
Kaylee was with us, who was our little lesbian kitty cat. And that's the girl that died of cancer for a little thing. And look, and I'm trying to hook her up with this stripper, and she's like one of the top strippers there, and she's like, oh no, I'm not into girls. And I'm like, no, you take this one, take this one. And I'm fucking pushing her at her, fucking, just fucking funny. And fucking bad. I don't know how we made it home that night. Yeah, half that damn bar, half of the fucking, it was a big battle of the bartenders event. And half of our friends ended up fucking sleeping in the parking lot.
They slept in their cars.
They slept in cars in the parking lot. It was like the fucking drive-in.
It was a good night.
They couldn't make it back. They were like, oh, man. And fucking our friend Mark, that motherfucker, he's an ancient drunk. And he couldn't make it back. If Mark couldn't make it back,
That's you know there was a lot of alcohol involved. He's older than us.
Yeah, and he's got a girlfriend named Laura, and they're but two of the tall, skinny people, and good-looking couple. And they slept in the car.
Yeah, I don't think they're together anymore. Are they?
No.
Yeah, they broke up.
No,
they were together a long time, but yeah, I think they broke up.
She replaced him with a bodybuilder.
They're still talking.
About a bodybuilder half her age.
Yeah, I don't remember how old she is.
About 50.
No, she's younger than me, isn't she?
She's older than Aleta by about a year or so. And Aleta's 47, 46.
Okay, see, I thought Laura was younger than me.
No.
And I'm 50.
Laura's a little bit older than... Laura's a little bit older than Aleta. And Aleta's a little bit younger than you.
Okay.
Or about the same age. I think Aleta just turned 50. Or near there. Yeah. What's funny is that all these people we're talking about, if you were to see them, you would never know that they were 50. You know, they look more like really well-preserved late 30s and 40s. I don't know why. It's just...
I told you because we stay out of the sun.
That's not what it is. Vanity has a lot to do with it. They keep up with their appearances. Mark and Laura weren't doing any kind of performance drugs or hormones or anything. It was just... Well, Laura, she's like one of those caloric restriction motherfuckers. And then she does aerobics, I think.
Yeah.
She's just real thin. Probably weighs 90-something pounds. And Mark didn't weigh much more than that. He's just skin and bones. Which I think he's too skinny, man. Especially at his age.
They might have been... Are they vegetarians?
Yeah, no. Well, I think she is. I don't think he is. Maybe.
Because I thought at least one of them was a vegetarian. Because didn't they come to that party that we had? And
yeah, maybe.
Well, I know there was a couple of vegetarians there because I know we had vegetarian stuff.
Aleta's a vegetarian now, I think.
I tried it for a while, but
it's not worth it.
I like meat too much.
No, yeah. It's not really a good diet.
Well, and the thing about it is that it's easier nowadays. Like, I feel like when I tried to do it, you didn't have all these options like you have nowadays. Like, now it's much easier to be a vegetarian, but, you know, and they even have meat substitutes that are pretty good.
Yeah, I've seen some of them, yeah.
They don't taste exactly like meat, but they're okay. I mean, they're passable. We tried one of those Impossible Whoppers, didn't we? Like at Burger King.
Yeah, it wasn't bad.
Yeah, it was all right. I don't know what the patty tasted like by itself. Like,
you don't know what's in it.
But on the bun with all the condiments and stuff, it tasted pretty.
There's supposed to be a bunch of things that equate to estrogens in there that are not really good for men. Make you fat. It's just a vegetarian diet's a lot better than a vegan diet. Vegan's really bad. Most people don't have the genetics for that. I mean, the best vegans in the world would be North Koreans, and they're tiny and frail. And they get smaller every generation. You're not really... Vegan is not... That's a religious choice. It doesn't have anything to do with reality. Fucking human beings are omnivores. They're just a scavenger. They ate whatever they found. But you have to have some protein in there. And plant protein is not quite the same as animal protein. And the proof is in the pudding. You just look at bodybuilders. They've had guys that have tried to do the vegan diet and go on steroids and compete with guys who are eating mostly meat, and they've always failed. Protein synthesis happens ideally eating meat. And to get it from vegetables, you have to eat so much. The caloric intake is so much that you're going to get fat more than you're going to build. Even under the influence of steroids, you're going to get fat. Or you'll still kind of waste away. under the stress of work. The best diet in terms of protein quality, it's been proven. Back in the 80s, 70s and 80s, there were bodybuilders, fucking IFBB Pro, Olympia. One of them ended up in Olympia. Just the sheer leanness, the health, the size, and being on steroids at that level is fucking totally unhealthy. They're abusing it. They're taking so much. He was a pescatarian. Fish is the best protein source.
Well, that's why they tell you like Mediterranean diet is probably like the best kind because they eat a lot of fish.
Yeah. So.
Because fish is probably like the best meat. It's the leanest.
It's lean. It's easy to digest. There's something about the body, the little mitochondria and the little cellular nuclei that you have in your body can somehow can process that and turn it into lean muscle mass very easily. And when you mix good genes with steroids and that diet, those dudes fucking just come out fantastic, just superhuman. The problem with fish diet or pescatarianism is the cost. It's expensive. That's the problem. I mean, beef is cheaper. Chicken's much cheaper. But when you're doing what those guys were doing, you have to eat a lot of it. Lots. And they were eating shellfish and fucking octopus and shrimp and fish of all different kinds. And that shit's fucking good for you. Real good.
And I feel like I can eat more fish than I can other kinds of meat without like feeling ill. You know what I mean?
I can sit down and
I mean, depending on how it's cooked. Like if it's fried, then I can only eat one patty and then I'm gonna barf. But I
can eat a mountain of boiled shrimp.
Yeah, I can just eat boiled shrimp all day long. I could probably eat my own weight in that shit. And it's like, and I don't feel sick or full or anything like that.
I think I can eat probably 5 pounds of boiled shrimp.
Probably.
Yeah. And you just be, oh. No, maybe not 5 pounds, maybe more like 4.
I don't know. You probably
could eat 5
pounds.
Probably could eat 5 pounds of that. Yeah.
John Smith said, vegetarian for 15 years. Meat substitutes have come on leaps and bounds. Yeah, they're a lot better. Because I remember like trying to do it like back in like the late 80s or like early 90s, and there wasn't really a lot of options. You know what I mean? That weren't terrible. Like now it's super easy like to find something.
It's best if it's a mix.
Then he said the vegan cheese is always awful. Yeah, they can't get cheese right, can they? Like I said, I've had some meat substitutes that are actually pretty good. They're not exactly like meat, but they're, meat adjacent, like they're close enough. But yeah, the cheese is just always, there's something weird about the cheese. And I don't know why they can't get
Veganism
that quite right.
is an abomination. And I say that Sophie was a vegan. And I'm glad that she's become more of a, she'll eat tuna now and she'll eat a little bit of meat. Because that's just, that's not a diet that's sustainable for health. Now, vegetarianism, if you throw in a little bit of dairy or, then that's a lot better. What's better to be pescatarianism, which is, fish and vegetables and, hell yeah.
Yeah, I feel like even if you're just mostly vegetarian but just eat fish like as your main protein, then that's probably the most ideal situation.
Yeah. And
which I could probably do that. Although I don't know, I would miss beef and I would miss turkey.
Now, the thing is that vegetarians can get, they're not so strict, so they can get decent protein.
Yeah.
Because I think a vegetarian will eat whey protein, and I think a vegetarian will eat dairy. And,
it's only vegans that don't eat dairy.
Right, you need dairy. So you want to have some cottage cheese. You want to have some cheese. You want to have some butter. Butter's good for you. People think, oh, butter's not good. Butter's bad for you. No, that was a black propaganda campaign to sell margarine. Okay, fucking butter is better for you than vegetable oil, and that's all that margarine is.
Camp Guy said eggs. Yeah,
eggs is the best.
I love eggs. Eggs
you could live on eggs.
You could because they're one of the most nutritionally perfect foods.
Yeah.
They're low calorie, high protein.
Yeah.
low fat. It's like, there's a lot of cholesterol in them, but it's not as big a deal as you think.
The problem with the vegetarian diet, they've got a lot of fake vegetarian bodybuilders out there. They got fake vegan bodybuilders. But the problem with vegetarianism is that you're going to be restricted to being either very thin or skinny fat. You're not going to be able to get really muscular on that. It's just because to get the amount of protein you need to synthesize that protein into muscle is going to put your caloric intake very high. The reason why meat and fish are so good is because it's a very concentrated source of low-calorie protein. A lot of protein in it and no calories in it. All right, so that's the difference. A lot of that vegetarian protein has a lot of calories and a lot of fat in it, like peanut butter. A lot of fat,
Well, I was going to say, I feel like nuts are a good source of protein, but you can't eat... Well, now it depends on... Now, peanuts have a higher fat content than like some other kind of nuts, and I think cashews are the highest, because they're the most delicious, so obviously. But I think almonds are better, because there's fat, but there's not as much fat as peanuts and cashews have.
A bodybuilder, though, needs several pounds of protein a day, and to get the several pounds of protein from peanuts is not 2 pounds of peanuts.
Well, I'm not talking about bodybuilders. I'm just talking about
the extremes.
Regular people.
Yeah, I'm talking about the extremes levels, though. I'm saying the difference is that you're going to be restricted to a normal looking physique if you're kind of a lightweight physique if you're a vegetarian.
Zach said, I always wonder if your ancestry determines things you like and don't like.
Yeah.
Like food. Probably to an extent. And I think, too, it has to do with what you were exposed to as a child also.
Also what you can metabolize. White people and African people and Hispanics can't metabolize rice at the same way Asian people can. They produce a lot more insulin, and they have the genes. Because they've been living in whole empires of rice for thousands of years. Anybody that couldn't handle rice is long weeded out of the gene pool. All right. Now, you do have some people who are non-Asian that have proper genes to make good use of rice, but no, man, we're mostly about wheat and corn, things like that.
Yeah, because that's kind of what we've
That's
been
what
eating.
it's our ancestors were eating.
Well, yeah, and like I said, there's kind of it's becoming more diffuse nowadays as people kind of move around more than they used to. But
Right.
There's that whole thing too about how Europeans could digest milk and other cultures couldn't because of agriculture and raising cows and shit like that.
You can give lactose tolerance to people, but you have to start them off small. It takes a time, I think, small amounts of it. But I think, so I'm not sure if lactose tolerance in Western people, I don't know if it's genetic or if it's just because they raised it as children with it. It's probably genetic, though, isn't it? Because I think
it might be it might be a little bit of both, to be honest, just like most things are. I don't know what I would do if I was lactose intolerant, and I know a lot of people are, but it's I would hate to not be able to have cheese.
Yeah.
Because man, cheese is the best. I fucking love cheese. But yeah, I would be sad if I couldn't eat. Well, I would be sad if I couldn't eat a lot of things because I like pretty much everything, obviously.
In the modern world now, because you have mass transit and good supply lines and knowledge and the internet, everybody has opportunities of eating everybody else's foods. So now you're coming in contact with foods that have never been into your corner of the universe,
Right.
But it doesn't mean you can get away with eating them in large amounts. White people eating lots of rice regularly, you're going to get fat.
Yeah, Sly just said that. Tom's right about rice. It makes me fat.
It'll make you fat. And it's because your insulin response, man. Fucking bunch of blood sugar starts coming in. You start producing fucking insulin like crazy. And when you got a lot of insulin in your bloodstream, one of the things that it does is that you can't burn fat when you have real high insulin content. And then part of your body's going, man, we can't fucking break down all this sugar, store it. So it starts storing it as fat because you just
stick it in their ass for later.
Put it somewhere. Because sugars are actually poisons in a way. The body has a reaction, kind of a negative reaction to them. But for a lot of Caucasians, rice, too much of it, kind of a strong insulin response to it. But what's funny is that we can eat potatoes and not get that same response. It's just rice.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like if you eat enough potatoes, you get fat too. But you know what I mean. Well, and especially if it's like French fries and shit.
It's not that same response.
But it's not as severe.
Yeah,
which is good because I fucking love potatoes. Also,
now I don't know about Mesoamericans. My Mexican brothers can tell me if they get fat on rice, because rice is not native to Central and South America. That's imported in there. Those are corn people. Empires built upon corn.
Yeah.
Which is nothing more than a selectively bred big piece of wheat. If you breed wheat to be big enough, eventually it just becomes a ear of corn.
Well, it's technically a different plant. It's called teosinte.
But it looks like wheat to me. And
it does kind of. I think it might be slightly in the same family, but it's not exactly the same.
Now, when you see pictures of Mayan and Mesoamerican artwork from back in the day, 1500s, 1400s, they're showing the corn, and it's little. It's like a baby corn almost.
Yeah.
It's not big. It's a little corn. So it's not today's Monsanto corn that they're, it's not.
Well, even before Monsanto got involved, there was all kind of like just farmers doing like breeding for like bigger, just like everything was. That's why I don't know why I was thinking about this the other day, because I know why, because I was watching a video about Kirk Cameron, and you know how he hung out with that crazy like creationist dude like Ray Comfort.
Yeah. And
one of their big things was creationism is true because the banana is perfectly like it fits perfectly in the human hand, and it's like
got its own
it's got its own wrapper, and it like keeps it fresh, and it's really nutritious and everything. I'm like, you guys know that we made those, right? It's like natural bananas didn't look like that at all.
Engineered.
Like they're genetically engineered by humans.
Yeah, to serve man.
Yeah.
To serve mankind.
And same thing with corn.
Yeah.
It's like that's not wild corn, like the original plant doesn't look like that.
Look, there's
that.
Pookie. Where
that
you
was
been?
Farmers doing that, like over the years.
Pookie was behind the curtain. That's where she's been.
Oh, you sneaky little.
She was been asleep.
I came home last night, and usually like I'll see her like when I come home. You know what I mean? And I was just kind of like, where's Pookie? It's like, I haven't seen her since I got home. I was like, is she mad at me because I'm not here, like, to give her brushy all day? You know what I mean? So she's like, this is some bullshit. Mm-hmm. And so we went all around this fucking house going, where is Pookie? Like, we couldn't find her. It was like, did she get out somehow? Is she, like, locked in a closet? You know, we couldn't find her anywhere. And then finally, Tom's like, he calls him. He's like, I found her. She was, like, behind. Where was she? She was, like,
downstairs between the sliding glass door and the shades.
Yeah, she was like tucked in there, like.
And she was just looking at me. I had the flashlight.
And she heard us calling, and she was just
I had the flashlight and everything, and
motherfucker's looking for me. I'm gonna stay in here.
And I saw the gleam of those lights a little bit, and I went down there and looked, and she's looking like, yeah. So I've been calling you, and she's like, "Oh, fine."
I don't care. I didn't want to come out. I'm mad at you.
You're funny.
She does that too if she knows we're going somewhere, like if we're going out to the club or something. And usually I like to check and make sure, where she is, like before we leave, because it's like, I don't want her to be like I said, like locked in a closet or something like that, because she runs in the closet sometimes without me looking. And so I always try to find her like before we leave. And so she knows we're leaving because like we're dressed up and stuff, and she will deliberately hide because I think she thinks that if she hides we won't leave. Maybe. Either that or she's just mad and that's how she's like lashing out. Mm-hmm. What you doing, stinky butt? Her butt's not stinky anymore. It's all cleared up.
Sly.
Your little problem all cleared up, Pokey.
Sly said that rice made him fat. Yeah. It'll put a lot of weight on me too. I love it though. I love rice. I'm more of
a noodle girl. I like rice, but it's not my first choice. I'm more of a noodle and potato person.
I get fat on noodles too.
Well, yeah, I know I would. I don't eat them that much, but I'm just saying that if you gave me a choice, it's like, here's this delicious goulash or whatever. Yeah. Would you like it on rice, noodles, or potatoes? Rice would always be my last pick.
Yeah.
I think it was because when I was younger, like every now and then we'd have rice, and it was always minute rice.
Yeah.
And we would almost always have rice with Salisbury steak. So it's like I always like associate it with that. I don't know why.
We're talking about food. And we're saying that eggs were a superfood. I'm gonna mention it again. I got to get back into it and do some more research. Got the garden out in the back. It froze over, but it's gonna come back. Most of it's gonna come back. There's a couple things I'm gonna lose.
Yeah, it freezes in Florida too sometimes. Yeah. Not that often, but.
And I lost one banana tree.
Oh, it died?
One of them did. One out of the two.
Did you tell me that?
And but it should be okay. Anyway, what I was going to say is the housing authority here. I got 0.9 acres, and if it was 1 acre, I could shoot out here. they shoot here anyway, but
yeah, I hear it all the time.
And the other thing is that they won't allow chickens. And eggs are getting to be where they're like almost 3 something a dozen here, and that's a lot of money for Florida. I heard they're getting to be fucking outrageously expensive in places like California, like fucking $6 to $8 a dozen. That's ridiculous. So I had this idea. They won't let us have chickens. You could get a pretty bird cage, one that'll cover up a wall, and you can put quail in there. And quail lay a lot of these little bitty eggs. And they don't make any noise, and they're clean little birds. And they're kind of pretty. And evidently, you can let them out every day, and they'll fly away. And then they'll all come back at night.
Like pigeons.
And I don't know if it's true, but I think it is true. And then they'll lay the eggs and everything. And as long as you're not killing them, you know what I mean? But you're just stealing the eggs, and you're feeding them, that they'll produce eggs forever. And you could let their population grow a little bit. And if some of them got old, you could take them one by one and chop their heads off and eat them. Quail's pretty good.
Yeah, I've had quail before.
And it wouldn't be like having nasty ass chickens, because I've fucking taken care of chicken coops before, man. Fuck those stinky ass chicken coops. And they got chickens running around everywhere, which, you know, this place isn't big enough for that anyway.
No, we don't have enough room for
And the chickens think that they're fucking your friend, and they want to come in the house. Then they want to get up on top of all the damn park benches or the benches that you have out in the fucking backyard.
Well, yeah, they want to play too.
Yeah, they want. Hey, let us in the house, man.
Come on.
You're giving feed. Let us in. You know, so it's just.
It's like you guys got a nice air conditioned shit in there. It's like we're just sleeping out here in this stinky ass fucking cage.
They start thinking they're pets.
No, thank you.
Yeah.
I mean, you can't blame them. They're not stupid, you know.
But I gotta go back and look at it. I think they said if you had 5 of them, 3 or 4 people, they made enough eggs eventually that 3 or 4 people could live off of it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because they lay, I think they lay an egg every other day, something like that. So you get like a dozen eggs, or more than a dozen eggs in fucking 6 days.
Now, quail eggs are slightly smaller than chicken eggs.
Yeah, they're smaller.
Yeah.
But you can still use them.
Well, yeah, that's what I mean.
Yeah.
I mean, you could just make an omelet or something.
Yeah.
You just need more.
You just need more of them. You need more of them.
That's fine.
But I'd have a whole bunch of them. I'd probably have about 10 of them and let them go. And see if they came back.
Well, don't pay a lot for them, because then the first day you're like, "Oh, be free," and then they'll just, "Oh, well, they didn't come back."
I think they're cheap. They got all these farm places around here. Fucking, I'm sure that
like
you can
you
order them.
You were gonna go investigate.
Yeah,
some of
I
the
didn't
shit
investigate it. I got to investigate more about it. But evidently they're quiet. They don't make a lot of noise.
They don't make that weird like.
Yeah, but they're not in this screeching and fucking crowing in the morning and and calling and they're pretty quiet like pigeons, you know.
Yeah. And
they would just come in to sleep, and then in the daytime let them out. And when they come back in, you feed them.
What would they do all day?
They fly around and eat, and they do it in a little school or a flock. And they come back.
A quiver of quail.
They come back to where they've been, where you've been feeding them. I might be able to put that cage on the back porch. They'd be outside. And
the kitties would love that.
And that's technically not breaking the housing fucking commission's rules, because it's not chickens. It's
yeah, I'm sure they were going to be
not
real
chickens,
understanding
it's quail.
about that. There's not chickens,
it's not
though.
chickens. See, yeah, it's quail. Yeah.
It's not chickens.
It'd be like having pigeons, and then you're letting them go. See?
I wonder if they'd be mad if you like had pigeons.
There's no rule against it. But they don't make any eggs. Or big enough eggs, I guess.
No, I'm just saying, like, just, you know, hypothetically.
Mike Tyson, he had all kinds of pigeons.
It's like they didn't say that I couldn't keep pet bears either.
Yeah.
That doesn't mean they're going to let me. Or like, you know, a bobcat.
You could keep a bear. This place, you could keep a bear. They probably wouldn't know you had it. As long as...
Well, because there's bears walking around here.
There's bears
anyway.
around, yeah. Just...
What about...
The thing is hand-raised bears don't like to go anywhere. It would just hang out on the back porch and fucking walk up to people and ask for food and shit. Yeah. Somebody would fucking shoot it.
Go in the neighbors' refrigerators and stuff like that.
You'd have to have a fucking collar on it or people would shoot it. And then if they had a collar on it, somebody'd call the fucking game control and they'd go, who's got a fucking pet bear? And they'd look for you. They just wait for that bear, scare that bear, and it would run home, and they go, that motherfucker right there has got a bear. And you'd be in deep shit. Probably find you and take the bear, and then they'd euthanize the bear, the fucking assholes.
They did.
They would euthanize that bear.
I know.
I'm not a big fan of the way fucking animal control deals with shit. They fucking killed a whole bunch of the bears at the old place that we lived over a fucking... Over a misunderstanding.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was upset about that.
Yeah. Killed a bunch of bears. And those bears were friendly. And they said, well, that's why we have to kill them. They're getting too friendly with people. I'm like, well, man, these are fucking trash pandas, man. But all they do is fucking, you know, they're big, overgrown fucking raccoon is all it is.
Well, what makes me mad about the whole thing is that they're like, okay, well, all these people want to buy these big, fancy fucking $500,000 houses in... you know, kind of rural areas.
On the outskirts, yeah.
On the outskirts of the town. And then they move to the house like, ooh, look at all the foliage and all the woods and everything. Yeah. And they're like, oh, no, animals. I'm like, duh, this is where they lived before. And then they get mad and they're like, oh, my God, there's bears going through my trash. I'm like, yeah, the bears lived here before you did. You wanted to live in the fucking woods,
and
right?
And this is how fucking convoluted their thinking is. They'd move out here from New York, call animal control, tell them to kill the bear, and then they want to do some shit like ban hunting. What the fuck? You just had them kill a fucking bear, and you don't fucking. But hunting is bad. You know, fucking they're just stupid.
What happened? What happened?
They're fucking settlers. They've come here to settle shit, like on the Great Frontier. They think that they're on the frontier, and what do they do when they settle the frontier? They fucking burn the whole fucking place down, change it, and fucking put tarmac and fucking asphalt all over it. And fucking say it's now civilized.
Well, I'm just saying that if you want to live in
the country,
nature, in the country,
then you have to be out there with the animals.
Then animals also live in the country.
Yeah.
I mean, that's kind of part of the experience. You just kind of have to deal with it.
That's why you moved out here? Right.
So, well, the thing that happened before, like when we lived in Sanford, where there was the animal control killed all those bears, it was because, I can't remember exactly what happened, but like the bear was trying to get into the refrigerator in the garage, right?
No. What happened is somebody, it was a woman from India. She opened her garage door and left the garage door open. In the garage, next to the car up in the back, was the garbage can. The bear walked into the garage, went down the side of the car to where the garbage can was and was looking into the garbage.
Okay. Ooh, what you got in here?
She came out of the house, opened the door, walked into the garage, and when she did that, she trapped the bear in between the car and the garbage can. And the bear tried to run and get out of the garage, but the only way out of the garage was through her. So it ran up to her and grabbed her by the ankle and drug her a little bit and then drug her out of the way and then let go and ran away. That's
it didn't like kill her or nothing. It was just kind of like, hey, move, gotta get out of here, bye.
And then ran off. And then she called the cops, and hysterical, and then they killed like fucking 12 bears.
I thought it was 7, but yeah, it was a lot. It was a lot. That was like not our neighborhood, but it was one like about a mile up the road.
Yeah, all the local bears vanished after that happened. They all fucking died.
Yeah, and I used to see
them all the time. Had to have them come look at me and shit. They'd be waiting. We came home from the club. They had one of them sitting out there like a man in our fucking driveway. And I came up on him. He rolled over. Oh, fuck, man. And he walked away.
He's like, man, I was all comfy.
Yeah, he was big, too. If he were to stand up, he'd probably be 8 feet tall.
Yeah, he was a big one.
Big. Now, if you look at the statistics, most people who are killed by bears are killed by black bears.
I thought you said
But that's just because there are so many of them. There are so many black bears. They're just fucking common. They're not an aggressive bear as far as bears go. They'll run away before they'll attack. You can even grab a black bear cub in front of the mama and walk off with it, and she won't attack you.
I wouldn't advise you, but...
No, they won't attack because the fucking animal control does it all the time. They'll grab they'll grab 2 fucking cubs and walk off like that, and the mama will just follow. And that's how they control
where are you taking my kids?
Yeah, you know, where put them down, down.
Where are we going?
And they'll take her to the truck. They go to the truck, climb up in the truck, and she'll get in the truck with them, and they'll put the babies down and then leave, and then just shut the truck, and then they'll relocate them. They're not very aggressive. Now, they do a lot of signaling, stamping the ground, growling, and making noises. That's because they're pussies. They very rarely comes to blows. They do a lot of warning, a lot of growling, but it's all bullshit. A brown bear or a grizzly, there's very little warning. If they want you, they just strike without any signal, then just bite you to death. They're huge. They're much bigger, a lot more aggressive. But black bears and all bears are complicated creatures. They have personalities and histories. They know when humans have shot bears that they know. They know that, some bears go, hey man, these humans are bad. And they've had black bears that were just hell bent on killing people.
I mean, you can't blame them, really.
Yeah. It's usually full grown males do it. And usually ones that have been hit by a car or hurt by people, or that they've seen other bears get shot. They're smart. They're like a dog, but they have the intelligence of a chimp. You can see people in videos, guys interacting with them, and you can read their body language, and you can empathize with what the bear's feeling, and they're very communicative, and real social. You know exactly what the bear's feeling, and they're pretty advanced. You could throw a ball to them, and they'll throw the ball back, and you throw them balls back and forth. It's bizarre. You wouldn't think that a bear would do that, but no. You can play ball with a bear. Pretty intelligent. They can open a car door. They can open a fucking door to a house.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, they figured it out.
Yep.
I've seen them get in cars. I've seen them open refrigerators. I've seen them open...
Turning the knob and push the door open.
They're not dumb.
Not dumb at all. And I've seen videos of people go, look at this, look, and he's got the phone, and he looks in his kitchen, and there's a bear laying on the ground in front of the refrigerator, and all the food's poured on him.
What you guys got in here?
And all the food's on him, and he's eating. And he says, "You're in my house." And he goes, "I don't know this bear. I don't know this bear. What are you doing in my house?" And the bear just looks, man, this food's fucking great. Come get some of this. Come on in, man. We'll share. Bear's not scared at all, and we're having a good time, man. Let's party. Look at all this food.
I mean, the bear is just like thinking it's like a fucking all-you-can-eat buffet.
Well, he's happy, so everybody else must be happy.
Sure.
Look at this. Look what I found.
Look
what I found in your house.
That'd be kind of rad if you came down and saw just a bear like looking in your fridge.
Yeah, the video I saw, he was laid up like that and had his feet up in the air, and he had fucking buckets of shit in his hands, and fucking he's eating. And it's just everywhere. Fucking refrigerator doors open.
They don't have very good table manners.
No. And he was happy. You could tell, he's pointing the phone at me, he's smiling. Look, man, look, come get some. Come
It's
help
like,
me with
man,
this.
you guys had such good leftovers.
Yeah, there's
in
plenty
here.
for everybody. Plenty for everybody.
Got some nice cold KFC in here, some cold pizza.
Because you can, you know,
Aw.
animals do smile. You know, it just doesn't look the same, but he's smiling. And, wow. Look at this. It's free.
It's just laying right here.
Want some? There's plenty. Come get some of this.
Oh my god, so funny. Yeah.
There's a real famous clip of the Russian dudes working out shirtless in the fucking ice and shit, and next to him is the bear jumping up and down, fucking helping him work out. He's working out too. You just see that one?
I think I know what you're talking about.
The bear's jumping up and down on a log and moving the log, and the other
He's
guy's
like,
doing
I am
pull-ups
also
and
doing a workout.
Yeah, he's working out with him. It's fucking funny. Yeah.
I mean, yeah. Yeah, black bears, like I said, are not. We've talked about this before, but they're not as aggressive as grizzly bears. I wouldn't fuck with grizzly bears, but I've been watching the new season of Alone on Netflix, and they stuck those poor people like up in, I think it's in Canada somewhere, and that place is fucking grizzly central, man. It's like every single one of the contestants has seen at least one grizzly so far. And one of them saw a mountain lion too, but like they've all seen grizzlies, and the grizzlies been like around their camp, and they're having to put the meat way up in a tree and all that other kind of shit.
Well, that guy who got eaten by the grizzly, he'd walk up and meet Grizz, until he ran into a bad Grizz, and he knew which Grizz was going to kill him. What did he say right there?
Thank you, Jeffy Art.
Hey,
everyone, just walked into Tom talking about bears and food while I just got back hanging out and eating with my bear friends. The universe must be sending me signs.
All right.
Then he put like a little pride flag in a little bit.
Yeah. I'm going to send y'all some razors for a gift. Shave that shit down.
No, man, because then they wouldn't be bears anymore.
Yeah.
Then they would be, I don't know, Sphinx cats.
I don't know. Lose some weight and they become otters.
Oh my god, I saw a photograph the other day of somebody taking pictures. You know the Sphinx cats that's hairless?
Yeah.
Except usually they're real sleek.
Yeah.
This one was like chubby though.
Yeah.
I never saw a chubby Sphinx cat before, but it was, I mean, it's probably not good for its health, but it was awfully cute. Like the little fat Sphinx cat.
Now, like Jenny says she wouldn't fuck with Grizz. I wouldn't really willingly fuck with Grizz either. But, going up to Sequoia and Redwood National Forest and, went up there many times when I was a kid, with my Aunt Lois. There was Grizz and I think it was brown bears. I don't know if they were grizzly, but they were brown bears. I think Grizz were up there too. The problem is that you can't show any fear around those bears. If you show fear, then you must be food. So that's the problem. You see some shit like that, you can't run from it. Now, the best advice I always heard is to just look at the bear and sit down on the ground with your feet splayed out, because that's the way a bear sits, and kind of put your back to him, and then just pretend like you're eating stuff off the ground, because that's bear body language for I'm not any threat to you. I don't eat bear. I eat stuff off the ground.
I got my own shit going on.
Yeah, but I'm not really scared of you. I got my back to you, And evidently that works. And they'll kind of ignore you too, evidently, once you do that. It's like, all right. It's a man, but he's like a bear and he's like a pig. It's a man, bear, pig.
On the Alone show, the one guy, this was the most hilarious one. The one guy, who I can't remember any of their names, but the one guy built the boat. And he was like really excited because it was kind of a warm day, and he took all his clothes off and he was like swimming around in the lake. So as soon as he got out the lake and he's all naked and wet and everything like that, and then like a grizzly comes like around, like toward him, and it was like coming around the side of the thing, and he was just he kept like yelling at it like, hey bear, you know what I mean? Like trying to get it to fucking, and it was just like not.
Didn't interact, huh?
It just kept coming toward him like, I'm going to see what's going on. He's like, oh shit, I don't think this is like good, because he looked like he was going to come investigate, like see if he could like eat him. And then finally he kept like yelling and like trying to stuff, but he had like a, I guess they gave them like a, what do they call that thing? Like a bear banger thing. Like it just makes like a loud noise. And he did that a few times, and the bear was just like, I don't give a fuck. And he didn't even flinch or anything. But then after a while, like, he did it one time, and then the bear was like, oh, okay, fine. And then, like, he wandered off. But the dude was funny because he's like, he was scared, but he was just like, man, of all the times for a fucking bear, he's like, I'm standing here fucking naked and soaking wet. And then, like, a fucking grizzly is, like, walking up wanting to do shit, so.
Yeah, evidently, Grizz and Brown Bear and Big Bear, like Kodiak and shit, they will test you. They'll walk up to you, and then they'll pass you. And as they pass, they'll lean up against you and push. And if you allow yourself to be pushed, they've just achieved dominance. And they might go back and eat you. So, according to the dudes that fucking out there living with them, when they push you, you fucking push back. Lean back like that it's not for free. All right, and evidently they'll get a little bit more respect out of you because a bear evidently push one another with their shoulder.
Just like an asshole at the bar, like when going to the bathroom and like, he's like, I don't like that guy.
Yeah, they're trying to test if they can fucking throw their weight around a little bit on you.
I don't know. I still wouldn't fuck with him though.
Well, you won't have a choice. You know what I mean?
I
wouldn't fuck with them either.
I do because I'm not going to a part of the world where they
if you're out there, if you're in places where they are, they're going to put you in a position.
What did I just say? I just said
out there.
I'm not going to go out.
I'm saying if you were out there, you might.
I mean, sure, it could happen, like some circumstance that I'm not planning on. I mean, that could always happen, but I'm not planning on going out anywhere. And the thing about Grizzly Man was that, I mean, he had lived with those bears for a really long time, and it wasn't one of his bears that killed him. It was one of the cranky bears that he was, I mean, so...
Well, it was a sick bear.
And he kind of, he seemed to know that that's how he was going to die.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Which is fucked up. It doesn't, like, make it good. And especially, like, I've heard the audio is fucking horrifying.
Yeah.
Of him getting killed. Because, yeah, they were making, like, Werner Herzog was making that documentary about it.
Yeah.
Which, I watched parts of it, but I was like, I don't know if I want to watch the whole thing or not. Even though I'm pretty sure they don't play all of the audio in that. I know the director listened to it. I know Werner Herzog listened to it, and he said, yeah, it was the most fucked up thing I ever heard. But, because his girlfriend got eaten, too.
Yeah.
And that was, like, the shitty thing, because she didn't even want to go up. Well, she said, I don't really think you should go out, because she was, like, getting worried about him. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, you know, one of those bears is going to fucking eat you. And it's like, yep.
Sly,
and it ate her, too.
Sly asked me if I've ever eaten quail. Yeah, I've eaten quail. It's good. It's kind of like Cornish hen to me a little bit.
Yeah, I've had it once, and that's what it reminded me of.
It's like a little bitty Cornish hen. It's
Cornish
mostly
hen.
dark meat. Well, no, I guess it isn't mostly. It does have a breast, and I think but it's like dark meat, and it's like juicy and tender. It's kind of like, kind of like Cornish hen. I guess that's the best way to. But a little
You
bit
remember
smaller.
we got those Cornish hens at Sam's, right?
Yeah, they were good.
Like, how many of them were in a pack?
Like 4.
I think it was 4 in a pack, and it was what, $20 or
back in the day?
It wasn't that. It wasn't
that much. It was
I don't
like
think it was $20.
I think they were more
maybe
like
it was 15.
15.
Yeah, I think it was $14.99, and it was like 4 Cornish hens, and I remember those were like really good.
Yeah.
Like we cooked those up.
Real good.
That was a while back.
Yeah, I forgot how I did those though.
Yeah, how did you do those?
Wasn't it kind of like a sweet and sour or something? Some kind
I
of
thought you
glaze?
just did them regular.
Maybe I did. Oh no, what I did? I used that damn poultry seasoning on there, didn't I?
Oh yeah, I can't remember. I thought you put like maybe thyme or rosemary or something like that.
I think I used that poultry seasoning that came out of that shaker.
Oh okay.
You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
It is had the yellow label on it. I think I'm out of that now. It's just poultry seasoning. Something you put on chicken.
Well, yeah.
That's all. It was good though.
Yeah, I remember those being really good.
Yeah.
We should get those again when I don't know how much they are now.
I'd have to look.
Yeah, Oscar said
Did you notice that I'd been doing Sam's a little bit different?
No.
For the same amount, I can have all the dry goods delivered, and it's better selection online because I have the Sam's Plus card.
Oh,
so
yeah,
you did. I don't have to drive down there. They only have to drive down there for the meat,
fresh stuff,
meat and dairy.
Well, I told you. I mean, shit. I started doing Amazon Prime because I have Amazon Prime, and it's like I started doing that like subscription for shit that I use all the time. Usually like toilet paper, shampoo, toothpaste, razors, shit like that I'm always going to use. And I just have them send me like X amount. And I have it for Pookie's treats too, like her treats and her food. So, and her little meat sticks. So they just send me like so many of it like every 3 weeks or every 6 months or however long. But the thing about it was that when I first started doing the subscription, I had them sending me shampoo and conditioner, and I guess I clearly overestimated like how much shampoo and conditioner I use, because they were sending shampoo and conditioner like a box of 4 of each thing.
That worked out though, because we would stockpile it.
I still have a fuck ton. And it's like you don't use it anymore because you don't have any hair.
What I do is I'll put it in my damn hand cleaner thing.
I mean, so anybody needs shampoo or conditioner, I have a fuck ton.
I do use it, though, when I do, like, my color touch-ups on the beard and shit like that, when I shave.
I'm just going to say, I'm never going to
I still use that shampoo because I have to put it on my head to fucking shave in the shower.
Okay, that's
true.
I
still use it.
I thought you just used, like, shower gel or
in there.
something.
You gotta have some kind of lubricant on there to shave.
Shower gel, that's another thing I got a fuck ton of. I have a fuck ton. It's mostly conditioner and shampoo. I have so much fucking conditioner. I'm like, I was looking in there the other day because it's in my closet in my bathroom. I'm like, how did I get so much fucking conditioner?
It was worth it though.
There's like fucking 40 bottles of it in there.
Fucking apocalypse can happen, and we'll be cleaning this shit up. Have all this
I got like 6 things of toothpaste. I got like 8 things of deodorant.
Yeah, she would switch it. She was like, it's gonna be toothpaste now. So then we got Arm & Hammer toothpaste. This whole stockpile of that.
Although I did notice this morning that I was on my last pack of toilet paper, so I probably should get another case of that. Well, because every now and like Amazon like reminds me, it's like, oh, isn't it about time to like buy that? And I was like, oh, probably not. I'm like, oh yeah, I guess it is. Amazon knows.
Say, Sly, did you ever get on HRT? You were talking about getting on HRT. I know that shit's expensive. That ends up fucking being like fucking $700 for your first visit, and then $200 a month. I'm gonna hit you. I'm gonna go ahead and do a little plug right here on the show to you men. I found a really good online site called steroidify.com. Go on there and just open up a damn account and fucking fill out the things and learn the instruction. You can pay with Zelle. You can pay with online Western Union. You can pay with crypto. And they got everything you need right there. The test, HCG, and all the videos. You can learn how to do it yourself. And you can get a 2 months supply of damn test for $120. Steroidify.com.
Not a sponsor of the
Not
show.
A sponsor. I'm a customer. Yeah.
One of these days we need some fucking sponsors, man.
Yeah.
I was noticing. I was thinking about that the other day because I was like, well, I noticed that.
And they do the UK too. Steroidify.com. So I got UK listeners. They do the UK. Yeah. Go ahead.
I noticed that the same companies sponsor most of the other videos that I watch. You know what I mean? Isn't that interesting?
Who does it?
I'm just saying that most of the videos I watch in particular...
Yeah.
Listen to what I'm saying. Most of the videos that I watch in particular... No, I'm just saying... What?
She fucks with me.
I mean, I can't help it.
She becomes the alpha. She starts fucking dominating me and shit. The bartender has to come and save me and shit. I'll be like, huh? What? She says, it's okay, Tom. It's okay, Tom. I got your back, Tom. She'll be up there fucking... I'm like, I don't know where I am.
Well, you know.
She's being mean to me.
It's right? I know. It's so fun. Tammy said Shudder should definitely sponsor you too. I know, right? Although the thing about it, I haven't watched a lot of Shudder. I did watch Skinamarink on Shudder, so I have been watching it. But it's like I used to watch shit on there like every week, but I just haven't had a chance to. I still have it, you know, and it's like I still tell everybody to get it because it's really good. But you know, yeah, I have seen Jade the Libra. She had Shudder do a couple of hers. But what I was gonna say was that most of the videos that I watch, like I said, kind of the big, more horror Halloween-y kind of themed things, like you know, Jade the Libra or Ryan Hollinger or people like that, they usually have the same, or Nick Doramio, they usually have the same companies like sponsoring them. One of the big ones that's sponsoring them is Scentbird, which is like a perfume subscription service. Like it's you pay so much a month and they send you tell them what kind you like and they send you like a thing. And I think like there's also a wine subscription service, like like earbuds, you know what I mean? That kind of stuff. There's like shoes. But I've seen a couple of them that were sponsored by Shudder, but not a lot. I don't know if Shudder is sponsoring as many videos as they were anymore. I mean, I hope they're still doing good because I really like they seem to have like been adding a lot of really good shit lately. The one thing I've always liked about Shudder is that every time they add new shit, because they add new shit like every week, they always seem to take care to add really new stuff and then like some older stuff that's like, you know, classics, but then they also have stuff that's like slightly more obscure. So they really have a really well curated kind of thing going on. Are you guys watching the Super Bowl? No. I didn't even know.
There's a Super Bowl tonight?
I didn't even know it was a Super Bowl.
Yeah.
Well, no, that's on... Is it Sunday?
I don't know.
I don't know. Well, I mean, it's usually on Sunday. Isn't it? Super Bowl Sunday?
I don't know.
I don't know anything about sports. I don't know anything about sports.
I was never into sports ball. Never into it.
I wasn't either.
I think it's just the wrong generation for it. I don't know anybody in my generation that really into that. I mean, they have some, but that's like a subculture. Now, my dad and all his friends, they were big into that shit, but I never really saw any, never really understood the hype, and never really thought it was boring.
Yeah, I always did too.
I couldn't stand the sound. I couldn't stand the sound of the game on television. Like, and then the fucking announcers and shit. I just never liked it. I always associated it with being stuck at home. You're young.
Yeah, I did
your
too.
Parents or your dad's watching it. You can't go anywhere. You're too young. And
right.
shit. You're like, man.
Yeah, I think that's why I didn't
sucks.
like it too.
Yeah.
And it wasn't so much like sometimes like my dad watched football sometimes, but mostly he was big into NASCAR. So it was usually like NASCAR races like on the weekends. So I also hate the sound of that. And also like I grew up in Daytona, which is, you know, fucking NASCAR central.
Yeah.
Because they have like the big Daytona 500.
Yeah, the track is the shit.
The
man.
big track there. Well, and you know, now that I work back in Daytona now, you know, I pass the track like pretty much every day. Like, you know, I see it like over there. And there is like that town is like built up so much around that fucking track. Like that the traffic is just fucking atrocious nowadays.
Yeah.
God, it's atrocious. I mean, it was atrocious when I was younger too, but it's gotten like a lot worse. But the thing about it, they built a lot of stuff there. I've noticed because I was like, oh, that's new and that's new, but it's like it still kind of looks like a shithole. Like it still really looks kind of like crappy and, you know, white trash.
I haven't been down there in a long time. So
even though they built a lot of new stuff.
Yeah, I mean, the last time I saw that area, they had a whole bunch of new housing complexes. They were like way nicer than this one. Beautiful entryways and stuff. I don't know where. I think those people all work in Orlando, though.
Probably a lot of people that live in Daytona.
Yeah, they work in Orlando.
It's weird because I always kind of did the opposite. Like for a long time. Well, you know, I lived in Daytona for a long time, but after I moved to Orlando, I got a couple jobs in Orlando, but then I was like working back in Daytona as well. And now I live over here and like work in Daytona also. At least for now. NASCAR isn't white trash, it's just sports on track. Yeah, I'm just saying Daytona was is kind of like white trashy. And has been like ever since I was a kid. You know what I mean? And it still looks... Because I knew, like, when I started driving back there, I was just kind of like, I knew they built a lot of stuff. So they did build... Oh, I meant to tell you that they built... I just noticed it today, even though I probably passed it, like, every day, like, this past week. It's a restaurant and a bar, but I think it also has a shooting range in it.
Okay, yeah. Where?
It's on the corner of 92, which is International Speedway Boulevard, and Bevel Road. Or no, Tomoka Farms Road. So it's kind of like out by where the flea market is.
I mean, I didn't grow up here.
What the fuck is it called? I can't remember what it's called. Double shot, double range, double barrel. Double barrel. That's what it's called. And I was like, oh, that's new. I think there used to be like a Texas Roadhouse there or something, like when I used to live there, but it's different now.
I didn't grow up here, so I don't really associate anything with any like past memories or here. I've just showed up. I guess that's about 15 years ago. and saw it as it is. And as someone who's just come to this part of the South, you can see a big difference between new Florida and old Florida. Old Florida almost looks like old Mississippi. It looked like something out of a damn old Burt Reynolds movie, but it's all broken down now. So that's kind of what she's talking about.
A lot of it still looks like that.
Still looks like that. Some of the neighborhoods are ancient, houses from the 50s, and they're tiny by today's standards. Tiny little houses, real close to each other, bad condition, just fences and gates around them, and they're just from another era, That stuff's just kind of slowly fading away,
I mean,
another 20, 30 years, none of that'll be here.
It's just funny because, I drive, because I will not drive on I-4, I refuse. So for, and going from here to Daytona, you don't necessarily have to. I-4 is a little bit out of the way. So I usually take 44, which is like a back, like, country highway, and then I get on 92, which in Daytona Beach, that's International Speedway Boulevard. That's where the speedway is. But the funny thing about it is that 92 is kind of like a major highway, but the road is like super shitty because it's like, it's old. It's been there for like a long time and it's concrete. So when you drive on it, it's like like that the whole time. And it's been like that like since I was a child. And the funny thing about it too is that even though it's like a major highway, like all along the highway, pretty much all that there are just these little shitty it like bars like the Oasis.
Yeah.
It's like all like that. And then it's like bail bonds places because like the prison is there, like the county jail is in DeLand right there. And strip clubs, little bait shops. Yeah. Like it all looks like that. Yeah. Like still like in 2023 it still looks like that. And so I thought it was funny that I was like, because I've been driving that and I haven't driven that way for a long time, and I was like, most of it's just woods still. But you drive by and I'm just like, oh my god, like fucking Softails strip club is still there, and like that bait shop is still there that's been there since I was a kid, and it's just like this cranky, like broken down old bar that's like still open, or like a little package store and stuff like that. And it's like so fucking funny that it's like they didn't really they built new stuff like in Daytona, but a lot of it still kind of like looks kind of old and broken down. But I did notice that new place, that new restaurant. Yeah. There was something else there when I lived there. I think it was a Texas Roadhouse or one of those like old like, Texas steakhouse type things. But yeah, I'm pretty sure it said restaurant and bar, and then the logo, it was called Double Barrel, and the logo looked like a rifle, barrel.
Most of the new stuff,
and I think it said was shooting range.
Most of the new
stuff, I was like, okay,
which is a lot of it. I would say more than half of the Orlando area is pretty new because it's growing quickly, and it looks like a porn movie because that's where they're filming most of those porn movies is here in this area, which is ultra modern looking stuff with palm trees in the background. That's the way most, and there's swimming pools in the backyards, and that's where, like the places where we used to live, they're like that. So it's nice. It's real nice. There's money here now. There didn't used to be, but it's just changed. It's moved up in the world. More talent's moved here. Economy's gotten a lot better than it was. Just the old South that we grew up in fucking the 80s and shit's gone. It's gone. There are still some people from that era that are living mentally in that era. They're hanging out over there at the Oasis where I hang out at. And talking to them is like fucking experiencing a time warp. I mean,
that's why I thought it was funny, like driving back to Daytona, because a lot of the places that I remember from my childhood are still there, and they still look the same. Yeah.
The thing is, though, is that it's irrelevant. I mean, it sounds brutal, but those areas and those people in those areas are irrelevant. They're mostly kind of retired. They're aging out. They have no idea what's going on. They only know their little local area, and they watch television, which that's just like mind numbing to me. Like my dad still watches television. He doesn't really know how to use the internet, and talking to him is like talking to somebody that's been living in a fishbowl, because the only input they get is through those old channels, and those channels have gotten worse recently. The programming on them is fucking trash, generic trash, and the information sources are terrible on television. So they don't know what's going on. They don't know anything. Which is funny because back when we depended on television for information, we didn't realize how much we did not know. Because there's nothing of substance really on television. There wasn't even back then.
Well, I wasn't super into it back then even. Like I said, I was more into like music and weird movies.
I remember in the 90s, after I got out of the Army, going into that bad house and turning on television. And it was just broadcast TV. I had one of those little bitty color televisions. I turned on the television at night when I came home, and it would be just nothing but Jerry Springer and Ricky Lake on it, fucking like 2 o'clock in the morning, and just nothing on television of any substance. Just a total waste of time. Real depressing. And then ads for fucking party chat lines.
I remember those.
and thinly veiled phone sex commercials and shit.
They weren't even thinly veiled.
They weren't.
Now, I've heard, I don't think they showed this one in Florida markets, but I've heard like in other markets, they had one that was like water sports specific.
Was it?
So it was like one for people that like to get peed on.
Yeah.
And they even kind of said that. Where did I hear about that? I think it was like in the Midwest somewhere. And it was like, I can't remember what the number was. It was 1-800 like something filthy sounding. And then it's like the extra P is for extra P or something like that. It's like, people that like to get peed on. So I was like, okay. I never saw that in Florida, but okay. We had other kind of phone sex lines, but they were mostly pretty generic.
Yeah.
You just get like the generic woman with like, the soft focus lens with lingerie going, call me, and blah, blah, blah. Like, you know what I mean? Like I didn't see anything that was like really specific. Like there wasn't any BDSM ones or, I don't know, furry porn. They didn't have that back then. I mean, they had it, but they wouldn't have advertised it on TV.
I'm making another one.
Sly said, do you guys bowl? No, I used to go bowling sometimes, every now and then. Like me and my brother and stuff used to go when we were kids, and I actually used to like it. I sucked at it, but like I did have more sports because I'm not very coordinated. But I used to like going though. I used to go bowling sometimes, and I used to go roller skating, and not a big sports person though. Not a big sports person. Sly said, television's all about images. I love old 70s, 80s movies, unless it's a documentary. I really like... Some things I like about old... Like, I like old 70s TV movies. Like, horror movies. Because some of those were really good. Like, I like those. And I like old TV shows, but... I don't know. They're not the same. So you can almost kind of like... as one nowadays, you can kind of like approach them from they're almost like a different genre. I don't know. It's like kind of hard to explain. Cause I don't know, like I watched some of the ones, cause I've been watching like over on my Scare Salon channel, which I really need to like post some more stuff on there. But like I said, I haven't really had time. I think I'm going to do a crime and memorial video tomorrow. I've got it planned out and everything. I just haven't recorded it yet. But, I've been watching Thriller, the 60s anthology show with Boris Karloff, and I'm also starting to do Night Gallery, the Rod Serling one. I did the pilot, but then I'm going to do like each episode. I love Night Gallery. But the thing about it is, like, watching those, I love those, and they're like really comforting, but because they're, quote unquote old, and we've seen so much stuff subsequently that use the same tropes. So it's like you can they're all like pretty predictable at this point, because it's like, oh, this is going to go like XYZ because we've seen so much stuff like that, like subsequently. So, but I don't know. It doesn't really take my enjoyment away from it, even though I always know what's going to happen. You know what I mean? Zach says, yeah, you call the line and then you're actually talking to a 300-pound Patty from Wisconsin whose husky voice from the hole in her throat she smokes through. That was, I have to, bad respect to those women back then. They were kind of like really on the vanguard of like the work from home hustle trend, you know what I mean? Doing the phone sex. Having the people call the like their trailer or whatever, and then like honestly I admire people that could do that, because I don't think I could do that without cracking up. You know what I mean? I would just like crack up and it would ruin the whole thing. Unless that was the fetish. If your fetish is you want me to make fun of you and then like not be able to keep a straight face, like just like keep cracking up at everything, like while I'm talking about it, then yeah, then I'm your girl. But other than that, nah, I wouldn't be able to keep a straight face like doing that. Oscar said, Jen reviewing all the Night Gallery episodes would be great. One of my favorites is The Little Black Bag. Oh yeah, that was a good one. Yeah, I've seen the whole Night Gallery series probably 2 or 3 times through. But I just got the idea, even though I'm not done with Thriller yet, like I'm only halfway through Thriller, because I didn't realize that they had 67 episodes, I think it is. It's like some ridiculous amount. And they're long. They're like an hour each. So I'm kind of getting through those. And so I said, well, I'm going to start doing Night Gallery too, because I've been wanting to do that. And I still want to do Kolchak the Night Stalker as well. Like I did the 2 TV movies, but I haven't done the series yet. So I'm going to get into all of those eventually. But like I said, it'll probably take a while because I don't have a lot of time. And honestly, I still want to put up another book review too. I have been reading, because I have my Kindle app on my phone. So on my lunch hours at work, I've been reading novels, you know, so because I'm trying to like keep up with stuff. So I'm about 75% of the way through a novel that I'm like doing. It's called The House That Fell from the Sky. It's kind of like a Lovecraftian kind of deal. I'm kind of into it. It's pretty good. I can't remember like who wrote it though, but that's probably the next one I will do. But that might be like another few days, because I gotta finish reading the book and then I gotta script out the review and all that kind of stuff. So you know. Sly said, I've seen all the Night Galleries, the spin-off shows. I love Kung Fu TV series. Oh yeah, I haven't seen Kung Fu in a long time.
Yeah, I wouldn't mind seeing Kung Fu again.
Yeah, maybe we should rewatch Kung Fu at one point.
Yeah, because I haven't seen them all. Maybe I have, but I was a little kid.
Right.
So I don't remember them. I think I saw recently, like in the last 5 or 6 years, the first couple episodes, but I don't remember actually completing it. Yeah, what was that guy's name? It's Carradine.
Yeah.
Yeah, David Carradine, I think his name was. He made a whole career over faking a Chinese accent. Realize that?
Yeah, well.
Yeah. He fucking put out a Tai Chi video with that accent. That motherfucker was from California.
Well, you know, they're like, hey, go to California, like go to Hollywood and reinvent yourself.
Yeah.
As a Chinese white person.
It's probably where Steven Seagal got the idea that he could just do any accent and get away with it.
I mean, to an extent, he does get away with it. It's not like anybody like shoots him in the face or anything, right? I mean, people make fun of him about it.
He's
but
Italian. He's
other than that, there aren't really any consequences.
He's whatever race or ethnicity he needs when he's talking to somebody else. If he's talking to a black dude, he becomes black. If somebody asks him about martial arts, he becomes Chinese.
I wonder if I was talking to him, if he'd start talking like me.
If you start talking about mafia stuff, he goes into an Italian accent. He motherfucker's cheesy as shit. He's from Michigan. He's a Jewish guy from Michigan. But he's whatever race he's got to be to achieve the Asian experience. If you guys know what I'm talking about, the Asian experience.
We're all trying to obtain our own Asian experience.
But look, man, look. There's been some progress on the Steven Seagal front, though.
Has there?
Yeah, I've been seeing some more recent videos of him on YouTube, and he is kind of like having a sense of humor.
Yeah, you told me that. It's like, I'm not entirely sure I believe it, but because he seemed like so up his own ass.
He's looks like he's developed a little bit of sense of humor. I think he's embraced his meme a little bit, and he's going to be in Expendables 4.
Now, if he's going to be in Expendables 4 and they like lampoon his whole shtick through the whole movie,
well, they kind of do that.
Then I know, but then I will know that he's actually like embraced.
Yeah, they probably will, Because whenever like anybody shows up in an Expendables movie, they do kind of lampoon. I mean, they even lampoon Arnie a little bit when he's fucking doing his secret mission and he's helping him out, you know, helping him escape. In Expendables 3, he goes, "Everybody, get to the chopper!" He does the get to the chopper line.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, get to the chopper. Yeah.
I mean, it's funny, but it seems like low-hanging fruit.
Yeah, they do low-hanging fruit. But it's the Expendables. It's the Expendables. They're going to do low-hanging fruit.
Some fan service, and I'm just kind of like, I don't know if I want to go yay or ah.
Yeah. They'll even have Harrison Ford.
Come on.
Harrison Ford goes in there and acts like a fucking hard guy, being a CIA dude. Like from what was that series that he did? Where it was like a Tom Clancy series.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, he plays that guy.
Executive Decision?
Yeah.
No.
He basically...
The fuck movie was that?
Basically, if you're an old action guy and you're in the Expendables, you're going to have to reprise your role.
You're going to have to, like, do the line. Because everybody's like, do it. You have to do it. You're contractually obligated.
But that is I love the Expendables series, and that is the tone of the Expendables.
Right.
That's his tone, you know.
I don't know. Like, stuff like that just makes... I don't know. I feel a certain kind of way about that.
It's nostalgia.
Right, but it's like I said, I'm not a super nostalgic person, and a lot of times, too, I'm just like, God, that's just, like, so easy. Mm-hmm. It's, like, so easy that it's just, like, it just kind of makes me want to roll my eyes more than anything else. You know what I mean? Because I'm like, yeah, everybody knows that joke.
You'll never get it, Jenny. It's action movies.
Well, no, I get it. I get it.
Yeah.
Well, there's nothing to get.
Yeah,
that's the argument that I'm making.
Well,
there's nothing to get.
The action movies is referring back to other action movies, you know. Jenny's her ex-husband forced her to watch all the damn action movies. She's
not all of them, but mostly the Chuck Norris ones and a lot of the early, because he was really into Chuck Norris. And so I've seen all of the Chuck Norris movies, and I'm not even kidding. I've seen all of them multiple times.
I've seen several Chuck Norris movies.
There were a couple that were good. I will go to bat for Silent Rage. That was actually a deal. Well, because it was kind of more a horror movie. It was like a serial killer.
I didn't see it.
The Octagon is also decent.
I think
He's not a good actor.
I think I saw the Octagon and I remembered it being boring.
I liked that one. I liked that one. The other ones were stupid, but like Silent Rage was good because it was, like I said, it was like a horror movie that just kind of happened to have Chuck Norris in it. And the Octagon, I remember liking that one. But like the other ones, I was just like, God, this is so dumb.
I haven't seen enough of Chuck Norris shit to really fucking to really know what to say about him. It just
Oscar said A Force of One was okay. Yeah, that's right. That one was all right.
I remember, from what I remember of Chuck Norris movies, I always remembered walking away from them thinking that they were kind of generic and unsatisfying.
Yeah. And they're kind of they also have that.
They showcase Chuck Norris as a dude who is not interesting.
Right. He's like not a good actor, and I don't like the whole, like, maybe this is different now, but I kind of feel like a lot of his movies back in the day, he comes off as like a little bit, he's very wooden, and then he also comes off as like kind of like a sanctimonious douche.
Yeah. A
little bit. Like, he's just very... I don't really like these movies where, like, the action hero, it's like, and he's right about everything, and it's like... You know what I mean? And
I haven't seen enough of him.
And I kind of feel like he always came off like that.
Now, there's one of them that I did remember seeing. Me and Mike Kowalski up in Michigan. Like in... Gramthars knows who I'm talking about. Me and Mike Kowalski and our friend fucking Ninja Jim, which I've told stories about Ninja Jim before, okay? He was like something straight out of fucking Karate Kid, all right? We watched a Chuck Norris movie on VHS over at Mike's house. And then after that, we fucking smuggled a fucking case of beer out of the back of the fucking 7-Eleven. We were underage, but we got it out of there. And the movie was called Delta Force.
Yeah, I've seen that one.
Yeah, Delta Force. And I remember
a bunch of times.
I remember being amused by Delta Force.
Yeah.
It was like a really bad Rambo movie.
Yeah.
But when you're a kid, there's something about you is that you can still buy into some freaking premises that you don't realize how much these stories strain credulity. You know, the situations behind them.
Yeah.
You just accepted it for what it was.
Yeah.
You didn't really go, wait a minute, hold on.
Well,
could a dude really do that? Or would a government actually ask this dude to help them? Wait, why this dude?
I mean, okay.
Just shit like that.
I would argue, though, like, look, I'm a horror movie fan. Horror movies are all about unbelievable premises. So when you watch something, you have to, like, give the movie some room. It's like you have to be like, okay, for the duration of this movie, we're going to pretend that ghosts exist, or we're going to pretend that, like, there's a Lovecraftian tentacled hell beast, like, coming. You know what I mean? So you have to kind of, like, suspend your disbelief. So I kind of feel like action movie fans do that too, but there's kind of like a fine line between watching an action movie where they're just like, yeah, we know this is ridiculous, we're just having a fun time, we're just entertaining you, and watching an action movie where you're kind of expected to take it seriously. Yeah. And I kind of feel like Chuck Norris's movies, not all of them, but I think a lot of them fell on the other side of that line, where he was, like, very much trying to be taken seriously, like... Yeah. You know, I'm very serious, like, action movie star, and and I know that he can really do karate and all that other kind of shit. Like, I'm not saying that, but I'm just saying that, like, his movies, like, one, he's not a good actor. Okay, it's like, I'm sure he would admit that too. Well, maybe he wouldn't. I don't know.
He got better.
Well, he did. Well, you would after a while. Because he's very, very wooden. He's not very charismatic. You know what I mean? So, you know, you never buy any of his emotions. Like, when he's, like, kicking people in the face, fine.
Yeah. I remember seeing he had a television program called Walker, Texas Ranger.
Yeah.
And I remember seeing that was in the 90s, wasn't it?
That's ridiculous.
Shit was ridiculous.
That was a ridiculous fucking show.
Walker, Texas Ranger. But I remember being amused by it, and that he was good in it, from what I remember. That was a long time ago, though.
He always just came across. I think one of the things that always kind of pissed me off about him was he always came across as, like, kind of like a goody two shoes.
He is.
That's what I'm saying. And it's like, and because my ex-husband was, like, really into him, and so I knew a lot about his personal, like, more than I ever wanted to know about, like, Chuck Norris's life. But it's like, so yeah, he's, like, very religious, and he's very, you know, he's like, he won't let any people swear around him and stuff, and just like, we can't hang, sorry. I can't hang out with people like that. It's just, it's too stressful. So, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because I can't relax around people like that.
I remember the scene back then.
They stress me out.
This was an era, if you're a young person, if you're a millennial or something, you will never understand the 80s. Even though the 80s is coming back into vogue, you know what I mean? You have young people having nostalgia.
It's been back in vogue, dude.
You have young people having feelings of nostalgia for an era they never lived in. But I understand the nostalgia because they're watching those old movies. And yeah, it was kind of cool. It was very cool.
Well, it was an era that was cool. Analog, and they've never experienced that.
This
is the last analog generation.
Yeah.
So it's like you can see where it's coming from. Yeah. They're kind of like, oh, that might have been kind of neat. You know what I mean? Because they didn't experience it.
In that era, no internet, television was unsatisfactory. You could go. The best thing going was fucking Blockbuster. Or fucking, what was the other one? Fucking New York Video? Or no, what was the,
I went to Movie Gallery.
What was the red and white one? Movie Time?
I don't know.
Anyway, you had to rent VHS, and that was a better source of entertainment and information, was going to VHS. And you got to see movies that they wouldn't play on television. Well, it was an era of mystery. We played video games, but the best video games were at 7-Eleven. Stand-up arcade units, and you had to pay money to fucking play them. Home video games, you played them, but they weren't as good as a fucking console, as a fucking arcade game. That was like, we considered that to be a real game. So when you went to 7-Eleven or an arcade, or mostly 7-Eleven, to go play this thing, usually behind the video games, like you're playing the video games, you turn around, there was a magazine rack. All right. In that magazine rack, they had all kinds of shit. And one of the sections was a karate section. They had martial arts. So the movies, the video games, and the magazines, there was a martial arts nexus started to happen in the 80s. That's where Karate Kid came from. Even though that they jumped in halfway. That was like halfway through it. video games like fucking Street Fighter, and they had the other one, I think it was just called fucking Karate or Kung Fu. I don't remember. You had the two fighters, one in red, one in white. Fighting games. Well, we were very confused about what reality was, because you could pick up a magazine and about Kung Fu and read some shit in there about throwing chi balls and dudes doing these fucking impossible sounding feats. And because it was in a magazine, you tend to believe it because shit, they printed it, it must be true. And that was just the thinking of the time. We stumbled across this fucking movie in this era called Bloodsport. It had Jean-Claude Van Damme in it. And it was this wild tale about this guy who goes to this fight on the other side of the fucking planet, and it's a fight to the death, and fights all these dudes. And at the very end of that fucking movie, it came up, and then it said Frank Dux had this many fights and this many fucking, and it gave dates and how many victories he had, and we were like, wait a minute, hold on, this is a true story? This is a true fucking story?
No.
That fucking, but we were like, this is a true story? We gotta watch this bitch again. This is
I
a true
can say anything.
This is a true story? Because the way it ended, man, they fucking...
What you gonna do?
Yeah, well, we were like, what the fuck? So we go back, we're playing Street Fighter and shit, 7-Eleven, and then next thing we know in those fucking karate magazines, hey man, look, Frank Dux, that's him, that's the dude. He really existed. He really did that shit.
Wow,
really
what
happened.
a badass.
That really happened. Well, that's not who Frank Dux was.
Yeah,
Frank Dux was
we
alive.
did a whole show about that.
Yeah.
Well, it wasn't entirely about him.
Yeah. It was the Bushido show. It's fucking bullshit.
Yeah.
Yeah, he claimed to be some kind of Delta Force secret agent, fucking operative, and all this fucking.
Well, like I said, it was easier back then. You could say what people couldn't fucking check.
Couldn't check. The motherfucker was bullshitter.
Yeah, you could just say whatever you wanted.
Now, this is the thing I want to know. The director of fucking Bloodsport, did he know it was bullshit?
Probably. He's like,
He
I
had
don't
to
give
have
a
known
shit.
it
I'm
was
just
bullshit.
making a movie. All movies are bullshit.
Yeah.
I mean, to an extent. I think even Stephen King said that. It's like, even if something is based on a true story, it's like when you're writing a fictional, making a movie about it, it's fiction.
Yeah.
Even if it's based on a real thing.
Because it's gotta look good on screen.
Well, yeah. He's like, he said the very medium fictionalizes. That's what he said. That's
the very medium itself fictionalizes. That's
right.
a good way of putting it.
That's what he said.
I'm going to remember that term.
Remember
that phrase.
I'm pretty sure that's exactly what he said.
Right. It's unavoidable. Because...
Yeah, I've read Dance Macabre about 400 times.
Because the audience looks at it, even if you kept it close to what really happened, the audience experiences it, and they internalize what happened, and then they see it in their own mind and change it to what...
Yeah.
And
you think, just making it a movie, it's like those aren't the actual people doing the shit. That's
didn't
not
have a
exactly
soundtrack behind it.
Right, it's not exactly the way it happened.
As badass as I look, I would look 7 times this badass if I had a soundtrack wherever I went.
I always kind of wanted
that. I'm walking, it's and depending on whatever my mood is, sometimes it's fucking 70s, fucking funk or whatever, and sometimes it's fucking something like out of Star Wars. If you have a fucking soundtrack, shit gets a lot better if you got a score behind it.
Well, yeah, because everything looks like some significant shit.
It's significant. It's epic. Yeah, epic shit. Yeah.
When you're just walking around silently.
Yeah, it's not good.
It's really not the same.
Not good. Just to show you, that's why I really, when reviewing movies, I really listen to the fucking score. I'm listening for a score or noticing the lack of a score. Because really, that's where the emotion is. It's telling you how you should feel. And if it's done right, that is how you will feel. Watch Conan 1 with that badass fucking score. All right? It tells you exactly how to feel. And you do feel that with that classical score going on back there. You're like,
a good score absolutely manipulates your emotions. Yeah, and I'm not saying that in a negative way either. No. That's what it's supposed to do. Yeah. And the thing about it is that, and even though I'm aware of it, it still works on me.
Yeah.
Like, shit, man, I could watch a fucking Pixar movie, and they have, a sad moment, and, the big swell of music comes up, and, your eyes tear up. It's just, it happens. Unless you're a psychopath, I guess. Zach's talking about Chuck Norris. He's not very good looking either. No, he's not. He kind of looks like someone's drunk uncle no one invites over for the holidays. Yeah, I kind of feel like, yeah, here comes Uncle Chuck, and he's gonna come in there and like complain that everybody's swearing and why are they like legalizing marijuana and all this? I kind of feel like he'd be that kind of motherfucker. Like you invited him over for Thanksgiving, you would just like piss and moan about everything.
Hugo says he likes John Carpenter's scores. I like his scores too.
I do too.
And it's because they're kind of minimal in certain ways. Like the one for The Thing was just doon 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 wah wah doon 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 doon, and that shit worked, man. You're constantly like, what the?
Well,
fuck?
It was a whole vibe.
Yeah, right.
It was a whole vibe.
And then of course Halloween, and then Escape from New York. Fucking great theme. Even though it's kind of like almost sounds like something from an old cop movie, like fucking or Night Court or something. What is it? Kind of sounded a little bit. It had a new wave vibe to it back in those days. He was using synthesizers and stuff, but it was good though. It was good. No,
I like when the score is. I feel like ideally, that's kind of the shitty thing. You're kind of in a shitty position if you're like writing a score for a movie, I feel like. Because you want the score to marry perfectly with the visuals. You know what I mean? And everything has to work as one. You almost want the score to be like not noticeable because you don't want it to like to like overwhelm the visuals or like be distracting. So you just kind of want it in the background, but you want it to be noticeable but not, which I imagine is like really, really difficult to do. Because a lot of times I don't notice the score unless it's really, really good or unless it's really jarring. Like it doesn't really fit, or unless there's not one. Like sometimes I notice that and sometimes I don't. It depends on the movie. You know what I mean? Because I feel like some movies don't need a score, or or a minimal score like works really well. But then like some movies I really like a big like orchestral score. I think that I talked about a movie. What was the movie that I talked about not too long ago that I mentioned I really, really liked the score that was like a piano score? Shit, now I can't remember what it was. But what the fuck movie was that I was talking about? It wasn't the last one that I did, because Skinamarink didn't have a score, because that was kind of like a different thing. But
score
I think
is super important. I mean,
oh, I remember what it was. It was Blood Simple. That's right. The first Coen Brothers movie.
Yeah. And
I mentioned that I really, really liked the score for that. I noticed it, but I thought it worked really well with it. It was kind of like a somber like piano score, and I was like really, really into it. Like I just remembered like really liking the. That's a great movie, by the way. If you like the Coen Brothers, that's their first movie, Blood Simple.
Yeah, if you're a
really
filmmaker and you don't have a score, you're hobbled. You're gonna have to be real careful about your edit and things that have to be. You have to do a master class in edit to get around the fact that you don't have a score. But although there were some cool fucking indie flicks that I've seen that I don't think there was a score at all.
Yeah, sometimes you don't need one. It depends on what the movie is.
You can get around it, but it's gonna have a weird tone, and you have to work with that tone. It's best to have a score. I always love a classical score, but it's only for certain kinds of movies. It's got to be something that's epic. If it's epic, it's got to be classical.
Well, and a classical score is better in a lot of ways because your movie doesn't date as much.
It'd be good forever.
Because I kind of feel like sometimes, you see a movie that was made in the 70s or 80s and they're like, oh, we want a very up-to-the-minute score or soundtrack or something like that, and now it just sounds like really dated.
Star Wars A New Hope was originally going to have a disco score. Imagine how that would have sucked.
Which that would have been hilarious.
That would have sucked. They talked about that, and they go, no, I got to go classical. And that worked. That fucking score is epic. And you can watch A New Hope, as old as that movie is, and it still holds up.
That's what I mean. That's why it's always best to go with that. Although, like I said, it doesn't always work like with the movie, but I kind of feel like it's better to go with something more like that, like more traditional.
Conan the Barbarian, that fucking holds up, that movie. It's like watching an opera, but it's because it's got that classical score. Long shots and shots of scenery, and fucking nature. Riding horses, that kind of stuff, and then the interior shots and all that heavy boom, 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 with the fucking big timpanis going. It just, that didn't date, you know.
Which that always kind of reminded me of like the Rite of Spring a little bit. Was that Stravinsky? I can't remember. Mr. 88 said Blood Simple's piano intro is awesome. Yeah, I agree. And very Philip Glass. By the way, Philip Glass's 1998 score for Dracula is fantastic. Didn't Philip Glass do the score also for Candyman, the original, from 1992? Because I really liked that as well. Yeah, I like Philip Glass's scores. But yeah, I remember, I don't remember who did Blood Simple's score. I think I mentioned it on the review, but I remember like really, really liking it. I tend to like you said, kind of more classical scores or piano-based scores. Depending on what the movie is.
He mentioned Dracula. A couple months back, we reviewed Spanish Dracula, 1935 or 6. I don't remember what it was.
No, 31. It was
31?
It was the same year that the
same year the other one. Same.
Well, it was Universal.
Same Universal.
It was just made for the Spanish speaking market.
They didn't dub. They just made a whole other movie with Spanish actors and stuff.
With the same sets and
same
stuff.
Sets, but it was just different director, and the camera actually moved through the scenery. The edit was better. That was a better telling of the story.
I thought in some ways it was slightly better, yeah.
And it was a lot more 3D because the camera would move through the set, so you'd get a better feel that it wasn't just some kind of a cheap backdrop, that it was actually like a castle. If you've seen the old Bela Lugosi Dracula, see the Spanish Dracula along with it. It's not Bela. It's another guy playing Dracula. He has a different interpretation of the character. I kind of prefer Bela, but this guy's good too. He's real good.
Yeah, it's just
a different interpretation of it. And he didn't see Bela's version. Everybody did it their own way. And the Spanish guy, do you remember what his name was? He was a famous actor. I
mentioned it on the show, but I can't remember it offhand.
There were certain things about him I liked better than Bela, but Bela, man, he had that role with the fucking accent and shit. And some people say, well, he's kind of comical. I didn't really think so. He was kind of coming off as crazy, like fucking. He was still sinister, and he just seemed kind of. And they showed his brides a little bit more. Dracula's brides. He had 3 more female vampires. They showed them. I liked the Spanish Mina a little bit better.
Yeah, I did as well.
Yeah.
Well, she seemed like more of a character.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
And the Spanish Renfield, I think, was better.
Yeah.
That was a pretty good Renfield.
Yeah.
That motherfucker he had more lines.
Yeah. A lot of the parts were expanded.
Yeah. There's a lot more.
It was longer.
It was longer. Although I got to say, I liked Bela's looking, being tricked to look into the mirror scene.
Yeah.
Bela's handling of it, I think, was better.
Yeah.
Than the Spanish hand. I think he hit it with a cane, and it didn't quite look. It didn't look natural. But still, they're both great movies.
John Rumbleslap said, we used to roller skate the Star Wars disco.
Yeah.
Man, I used to go when I was a little kid. We used to go, grew up in Daytona Beach, and we all used to go to Starlight, which was the big roller skating rink back in the 80s. And I would I had my own roller skates. They were white with little blue wheels. And I would go with my gray Calvin Klein leg warmers and my little feathered headband and all my cool 80s paraphernalia, like in the actual 80s. I was 10, you guys.
Mr. 88 came through. I think he's talking about Spanish Dracula's name. His name is Carlos Villarreal.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's right.
He said the Spanish Dracula was a lost film until a print was discovered in the late 70s.
Yeah, I think we mentioned that on the
So we did a review of it, and we recommend it. If you guys haven't seen it, man, see Spanish Dracula. It's for free on what service?
It was on Tubi. I don't think it's there anymore, though. Okay. Because I think, a couple weeks after we reviewed it, somebody said, oh, I looked on Tubi, and it's not there anymore. And then I looked, and both of the Draculas were gone. So I guess they were just on there for, a limited amount of time. It always has to do with, the rights and shit like that.
Yeah, Oscar Perez is saying that the Strigoi and blood vessel he said kind of disappointing that he never physically attacked anybody. Yeah, that's right. For something that was so frightening looking, the way that character was, it'd been better to see him do something like that. But I think what they were trying to do is they were trying to demonstrate all the Strigoi powers. You know what I mean? So every time he did something, he did it the Strigoi way, which I thought was fucking cool because I didn't know anything about a Strigoi when I saw the movie. Not only was he a vampire that could do weird shit like crossbreeding with living and dead people, not only could he do that, but he was also a sorcerer. And I was like, whoa, he can fucking do magic? He casts spells like a witch? That's fucking awesome.
He's all the monsters wrapped in one.
Yeah.
Sebastian said, some Dario Argento films, such as Suspiria and Phenomena, talking about scores. Honestly, the score for Suspiria, I will just listen to that without even watching the movie. And the thing about Dario Argento's scores, which mostly Goblin did back in the day, is that in a lot of ways they were very bombastic and they were, almost kind of like made to draw attention to themselves. But in the case of Dario Argento's movies, especially his earlier ones that were actually good, I think that worked in its favor because the whole vibe of it was just like very over the top and very operatic. So, particularly Suspiria, which was just like these bright, vivid colors and like all these like crazy, like really gory like set pieces and things. And so I think like that over the top score really worked. But the Suspiria theme, especially that main theme, God, I fucking love that. I've listened to that like just as a regular ass song, which I don't usually do with movie scores because I don't usually like movie scores enough to listen to them without the movie attached. But Suspiria is one that I actually own and that I've listened to like a lot, especially that main theme. I love that. But I was going to say too, since we were talking about movie scores, I was thinking to myself, what's a good a movie with a really good soundtrack, as in not necessarily the score, but songs in there.
Fucking Romeo and Juliet.
Yeah, that had some good ones.
With what was his name?
Who? Gavin Friday.
Yeah, but I'm talking about the people,
Leonardo DiCaprio.
Leonardo DiCaprio and Claire Danes. No, not Claire Danes. Was it? Was it Claire Danes? No.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was. Okay. I love that movie. I have it in Steelbook. Some people are like, you like the fucking... I love fucking...
That's Baz Luhrmann, man.
Yeah. And it's...
He made Moulin Rouge.
Yeah. And I was like, wait a minute, some of this shit, it's in a modern context, like Central America. Central America warring cartels, basically. And some of the themes, are kind of like modern. I was like, oh, it can't be, man. It's fucking Shakespeare. You know what I mean? They can't be talking about drugs. They can't be talking about gay stuff.
Of course they can.
No, yeah, that's exactly what they were talking about.
Yeah, of course.
I went back and checked. And
Shakespeare shit is timeless. Yeah, that's why they're still doing his shit now.
Shakespeare on the slick fucking said all kinds of shit you weren't supposed to say.
And he was all clever about the way he said about it. So.
Yeah. What's his name? Mercutio? Mercutio. Romeo's one of Romeo's chief friends and bodyguards. He's played by a black actor. I don't remember what that guy's name was, but he comes to the party dressed in drag and says all kinds of stuff on the slick that kind of sounds gay, and then he dies for Romeo, and then he goes fucking curse on both your houses and all kinds of shit. Yeah, that was a gay undertone. He was in love with Romeo. They left it deniable because you couldn't come out and say that back in those days.
Well, that's
what it was.
I mean, there was a whole subculture up until probably the 70s when it became like acceptable to be out as well. I mean, it wasn't super acceptable in the 70s, but at least it started to become more acceptable. But until that, like, they had a whole subculture. They had their like vernacular and stuff like that because you couldn't come out and say like certain things. So you always had to like obliquely refer to things.
Because Mercutio is telling Romeo in one of the scenes, he's like, yeah, you have all this good life and shit, but my life sucks because I can never be who I am and I can never love who I love, type of deal. Remember that? Remember it was like that? And it, like, what's he talking about? You know what I mean? Well, he was in love with Romeo.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, it's obvious to modern audiences. It was probably obvious.
It was obvious, I think, back then.
Back then,
but
too.
you had to skirt it,
right?
Because they had censors, basically.
Yeah.
So, but that's exactly what it was. So the movie is correct. And then,
well, that's what I'm saying. That's why they're still doing interpretations of Shakespeare nowadays.
Yeah.
His shit is like timeless.
Yeah, and then there was a bunch of drug references in there.
Yeah.
And they're in the movie, but they were in the play too.
Yeah.
It's just that they don't know exactly what drugs they were talking about, but it is some kind of drug.
But yeah, drugs are drugs.
They were talking about, well, look, man, we go to this party. You need to fucking talk to this angel, and this angel on your lips will do this and that, and you will have basically you will trip balls if you take this, and the party will be great. Basically, is what they tell him.
Yeah.
We don't know what drug they're talking about. It was something that made you trip out.
Yeah. So like I said, people have been
They had
tripping out
shit
for
back then,
thousands of years. They knew all about that stuff. Like I said, they just used different terminology for it, and it wasn't. It's not so much the behavior that changes; it's how society at large reacts to it, and like sometimes you have to like talk around it instead of just like coming out and saying it. That's pretty much the only difference. You know what I mean?
But if you haven't seen that Romeo and Juliet, I recommend that. I recommend that highly. But what's the name? Basil what?
Baz Luhrmann.
Baz Luhrmann.
I would also
Leonardo DiCaprio back in the day.
I would also recommend Moulin Rouge because I fucking love that movie. That's got the Ewan McGregor and Nicole Kidman, and they were singing in it.
That one too, but I like Romeo and Juliet better.
They're very Baz Luhrmann made that Elvis movie that we just saw too. So yeah, which was also really good. He's very into extra. Yeah. He's very extra.
Make it big. Make it
big. Put more glitter on it. Put more which it's a lot. But if you know that's what you're getting, it's like he's very enthusiastic.
Well, he's putting on a show,
right?
Like it's a theater production,
right?
And Moulin Rouge and Moulin Rouge and Romeo and Juliet were supposed to be theater productions, so it works well for those stories.
Yeah. I'm just saying you have to know that going into it because otherwise you'll be like, holy crap, I'm being
Romeo and Juliet
assaulted with Twitter.
Had a great soundtrack, a great 90s soundtrack. Shit, man, fucking, I don't remember everybody was on it, but it's just rock music mostly. There's some soul in it, though, too.
Yeah.
They do a different version of Purple Rain, remember?
That's right.
Like a gospel version of Purple Rain. Gavin Friday's Angel is in it.
Yeah, Tom loves that song.
I love that song. And then, what else? Massive Attack was in it. Wasn't it? Massive Attack, I think?
Might have been. Yeah, it's been a while since I've seen it. I don't really remember.
Yeah.
Because like I said,
was Prodigy? Not Prodigy.
Oh, maybe
I think Prodigy might have been in there.
See, I'm not like a big fan of like 90s music, so... I mean, I like some of it.
Nine Inch Nails might have done something.
Oh, you want to hear something funny? Yeah. So, like, today at work, like, the guy I work with, he's on Friday, he does DJ day, right? And he'll play, like, all different kinds of music. So he was telling the other lady there, he's like, oh my God, look at this fucking YouTube channel I discovered. And it's called Y'alternative.
Yeah.
And so it's like a guy doing, like, super country versions of... like 90s alternative song, like pop, like Blink-182 and like stuff like that, and it's annoying but also kind of hilarious at the same time. Like it's hilarious for like a second, and then you're like, all right, that's enough. Because I didn't like Blink-182 and all that stuff to start with. It's like I really don't need like a super country version of that. But I was like, well, that's pretty funny that like they found a niche, and I love that they called it Y'alternative. That like cracked me up. But I'm trying to think of like movies that I really, really like the soundtracks of. I tend to like ones that have like a lot of like 80s vibes. So I liked like Donnie Darko had a really good soundtrack that had a lot of good songs in it. That had like Echo and the Bunnymen and Tears for Fears and stuff. And I liked a lot of the ones from like John Hughes. Oh, and I remember the soundtrack for Valley Girl being really good because I think that had like psychedelic furs and stuff on it. So that was like really good.
Mr. 88 had a good comment about Shakespeare that he's about subterfuge.
Insubordination by obfuscation.
Obfuscation.
Yeah. That's what I'm saying. You always had to like talk, and clever wordplay was like kind of his thing. Yeah. So he would always kind of like talk around things, and
Didn't want to get his head cut off.
Well, you know, that's
Yeah.
just what you did. Like,
Yeah.
you kind of had to do that kind of shit. And I kind of feel like writers have been doing that for, like, a really long time. You're just like, look, fucking Oscar Wilde did that shit, too, because he was gay as shit. And you couldn't really... It was illegal. Well, he went to prison for it for a couple years. Actually, he had to break rocks for 2 years because he got caught. But, and he wrote a big fucking long, epic poem about it, which was actually really good, called The Ballad of Reading Jail.
Like, you're going to change somebody.
Well, what do you mean?
Send him to jail, he'll change.
Well, that was kind of...
I guess that's not what they were thinking, though. They were just thinking, we need to punish these
They
people.
were just thinking about punishing
You're
them
doing
because
it-
they
yeah,
were
you're
doing
making
something
sin.
bad.
It's sin, yeah.
No butt stuff. It's not allowed.
Yeah. We're going to
Like,
punish you for that.
right, which is dumb because it's just like, what... It doesn't...
What does that have to do with that dude?
Yeah, it doesn't have anything to do with you. Like,
Yeah.
why do you care?
Yeah.
I
The
will,
thinking of the time.
I will never understand that. And, like,
Yeah.
some people still think that nowadays. Like, why are some people, like, worried about where other people
do.
are
Yeah.
putting their dicks or vaginas or whatever?
If it's consenting adults, man.
That's what I mean. As long as nobody's doing
Yeah.
anything to somebody that doesn't
Right.
want it or is, like, underage, I'm like...
Who cares how these people are getting off?
I'm like, I don't care what you do.
That's what they want to do, man. I don't care.
Do in your house. It's like it doesn't bother. It doesn't
Just don't
like
force it on anybody.
it doesn't affect me
Yeah.
one fucking bit. Not at all. Not at all. Speaking of which, I found another show on Hulu because on I guess they're originally like on History Channel, but they had shows like they had The Food That Built America, which we just watched season 3 of, which was excellent. And they also had like The Machines That Built America and The Men That Built America and all this. So like they have like a whole series of these and they're all like really, really interesting. Well, they have one, and I think it's just like a mini series because it looks like there's only 3 episodes unless it's still on and they're putting episodes up slowly. I'm not really sure. But this one is called, what's it called? The Sex, Booze, and Bets That Built America? Or it's those 3 words, but I don't remember what order they're in. So it's kind of all about, and I thought it was kind of cool because it's the same format as the other show, but they're going more into like illegal trade. So they're talking about, the guy that, brought cigarettes to like the wider thing, like started Marlboro and all that. They're talking about, prostitution. They're talking about like the founding of Las Vegas. They're talking about moonshiners. They talked about, I didn't realize... I was like, oh, today I learned that Jack Daniel was a real guy. Just like Little Debbie was a real girl.
Yeah.
Mrs. Fields is a real woman. You know what I mean? It's one of those corporate mascots. Chef Boyardee was a real dude. But yeah, Jack Daniel was a real guy. He was like he worked for a legal distillery. And he also, did some bootlegging on the side.
Yeah, they talk about how he got into the whole booze business. He had money. He wanted to have a business. He was working he was a preacher too, wasn't he? Or what
No. He worked for a preacher the preacher owned a distillery.
Yeah. Right.
And he worked for that guy.
Yeah. He made friends with these 2 guys, these 2 black dudes, and one of them...
Well, they were father and son.
They were father and son,
The father was named Nearest Green.
Yeah.
And he was a master distiller. He was like the best guy in the area. So Jack Daniel learned how to distill whiskey from him.
Yeah, and they worked
He was
on
like
it for
his
a
mentor.
long time. Yeah, and that was his, and he was an ex-slave, the dad, not the son, but the dad was, I think, and
Yeah, the dad was.
the dad was, yeah, and they were good buddies. It was a good story, and then that dude ended up dying, and they show kind of a scene where he was fucked up. They were at the fucking.
Well, that was like his best friend.
Yeah, it was like his best buddy, man. And but he came up with evidently in Africa. They were distilling in Africa, and they would. Well, no, they weren't distilling in Africa. They had water problems, and they were filtering water through charcoal. So he knew about cold charcoal filtering, which really improved whiskey.
Yeah.
And
Got
then
all the
they-
impurities out.
Yeah, and then they would filter the whiskey through charcoal,
Which moonshiners weren't doing.
nobody else was doing
back
it.
then. This
So-
is like right before,
Yeah.
like during and after the Civil War.
Right. So, kind of an important invention filtering, and then they would age it in the barrel too.
Yeah.
They did all kinds of stuff.
Well, they
took them a while to figure out to get it right. For years they worked on it.
They specifically wanted, which I actually kind of admire, they specifically wanted to make it good. They wanted to make like a premium whiskey.
Yeah.
They didn't just want to make like some shitty moonshine.
No.
Like he had been doing that, but he's like, I want to make like some really, really good stuff. So they tried like a bunch of different recipes and stuff. They wanted to make like a more premium brand.
Yeah, and the thing is that all the brewing and distillation processes, that technology was all European. So what you would come out with is a European product. So most of the companies that were doing this back in the days were trying to make American versions of this stuff, like Anheuser-Busch.
Yeah, because that was like another part of the show.
Yeah,
they were talking about Anheuser-Busch.
Anheuser-Busch was trying to make a beer that was American because the other beers that were being made in America were actually German.
It was all the German immigrants
shit,
that came and brought their all. Yeah, and that was mostly their customer base too.
Right. So. Now it's funny, you know what I mean? The main invention was the fucking. They were selling big old casks of beer and with Anheuser-Busch written on them, and then the bar owners would sell it all and then refill that fucking cask with cheap beer and sell it again as Budweiser, and it tasted like shit. So they were like, "How the fuck do we stop that?"
Yeah, it's like that's dragging our name through because they were one of the first like national brands.
Right. So
that wasn't really a thing.
Solution is we're going to make these bottles and we're going to bottle it in a bottle. So when you buy it, you only buy it from a bottle. And that was the first mass production bottling.
So I mean, say what you will about Budweiser, but it was, and they were the first ones to do refrigerated trunks.
Yeah, refrigerated trunks.
Because they wanted to be able to sell their beer west of the Mississippi. Yeah, because there weren't any breweries out there.
It couldn't get warmer. It would fucking ferment.
It would, yeah. So they made like a lot of innovations, like that company, as shitty as their beer is, like compared to other beers. But you know what I mean.
Well, Budweiser is fucking piss water today.
Yeah.
But in the 1800s,
that was like premium shit.
Yeah. Because I've said this before. Wine tasting is a bunch of fucking bullshit. Okay. Back in the day, they would do wine tasting, and you could taste, this is a fine wine. Okay. But if you were to go down to Walmart today and get a box of fucking Merlot, cheap box of fucking...
Yeah, just get the wine in a box.
Wine box, right?
For like $10 or how much
something that Meemaw buys and drinks it, you know what I mean? And take that back in time, all right, to the 17 or 1800s, and have them taste that, they'd tell you that was the best wine they'd ever had.
Well, it probably was.
That was, yeah.
And that's the same with like food or anything.
Yep.
Because they didn't have any standard for comparison back then. It's like, well, this is less shitty than the other thing that we had. They didn't have anything really good, I feel like, probably.
Yeah, all that wine tasting bullshit is bullshit. Wine is good when you taste it and you like it. That's what good wine is. All that wine tasting tradition came from an era when there were wineries everywhere. Half of them fucking substandard. They're putting wine in filthy bottles and the shit fucking goes bad in a couple fucking years. You know what I mean? You taste it and it's like sour like vinegar, you know. It was, most of it was just how, they would lack of sanitation. You know?
I feel like the thing about it, up to a certain point, like, up to a certain point, price matters.
Yeah.
But that point is probably not as high as most people think it is.
I think they said if it goes over $80, you've wasted your money. That's what I've heard.
I mean, I don't even know if I'd go that far.
Yeah.
I think it's probably like less than that. Because honestly, I bought some wines for like $15, $20 that were really fucking good.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm no connoisseur or anything, but I'm just saying.
Some of that shit's status, though, and prestige.
Right. And a lot of it is like packaging and like the way that it's perceived in the marketplace, like things like that. So, and, companies pay a lot of money to be seen as a premium brand or something like that, so they can get a premium price. That doesn't necessarily mean that it tastes $100 better than the next one down in the market. It probably doesn't. Yeah. And like we've said that before, it's like, a $500 bottle of wine. I'm like, I can't imagine anything that would make me pay $500 for it. It can't be that good. It just can't. I can't imagine what it would taste like that would make me pay $5. Even if I could afford it, which I can't. But even if I could, I'm like, how would that be? How would that be 10 times better than a $50 bottle? There's no way.
It would probably be dry.
There's no way.
It would be dry, and you probably wouldn't appreciate it. I mean, I remember hearing some shit where they would take these wine tasters and blindfold them and give them fucking random wines, and they really couldn't tell one wine from another. I mean, like some of the ones they might remember, but and you know, now that I've seen some of the shit that Gordon Ramsay did to people, probably true. They would fucking blindfold fucking chefs and fucking give them pork and ask them what that is, and they would go chicken. You know.
I always wondered, they do this every season on Hell's Kitchen if you don't watch it. Because I've been watching, oh shit, I gotta watch the new one actually. Because the new one's probably up. And I think it's the finale. But I might be too drunk to watch it tonight. I might have to watch it tomorrow. But every season they do, and these are like, you know, experienced chefs, right? Yeah. That he has on there. And he always does a blindfold taste test, and they almost always fuck it up. Like, a couple of them, I think on this last one, like, 1 or 2 people did pretty good. Yeah. But some of the people just got every single one wrong. And these are supposed to be, like, people with really good palates. And then I'm kind of wondering, I wonder how I would do. Because it's, like, easy to sit at home and be like, how can you confuse, you know, a mango for a pineapple? Because those two things taste completely different. But it's like when you're not seeing anything and... You know, maybe it wouldn't. Right.
The experience isn't taste alone. You've seen it. You know what it is. So you have expectations.
Right.
And then the expectations are fulfilled when you eat.
So it just goes to show, like, maybe how much your eyes.
Yeah, your eyes has a lot to do with it.
So I kind of be curious. You don't know
what to expect, and then you taste it, so you're confused now because you didn't know what to expect. I mean, they give that dude cheese, and they would go, "What is that?" And he goes, you know, he's eating this as butter or something shit like that. It was just like, it'd be something totally
and you're like,
wrong.
what?
And you're like, what? And, you know, or, he couldn't identify it. It was fucking cheese.
Now, see, I will admit that, like, some of the stuff they give them would, like, probably be kind of hard. Yeah. Because if you can't see, and they can't hear or anything either. Yeah. And so if you give them something, I always kind of feel like if you give them something that's, like, that doesn't have a super strong flavor or a super strong texture. Like, for example, like, he gave them, like, mushrooms. And I'm like, okay, that might be kind of hard because mushrooms, particularly if they're uncooked, which I think they were, they don't really taste like much of anything. Yeah, they have a specific texture, but other things have that texture too, like tofu or something like that. So it's like, I can see getting that wrong. Now, some of the things that they gave them, I was like, oh my God, there's no way they could fuck that up because it's like, it seems so distinctive. But, you know, something that that's very mild flavor, like potato or something like that. I could see you fucking that up because that could be a lot of different things. But something that has a very distinctive flavor, but sometimes they still fuck it up.
Oscar's in there saying that Jack Daniels sucks. Basic Jack Daniels, I don't like it. It's sour mash whiskey.
I don't like it straight. It's good with Coke. But I agree that Jameson is better.
Yeah.
Jameson's really good in coffee, actually.
The thing is, though,
I used to start my morning with that back in my degenerate days.
The thing is, though, is there's now just a bunch of different levels to Jack Daniels. They got some more premium versions of it that are really good, and they have some flavored stuff too. Like they had one, I think it's like almost like a red hot cinnamon or honey flavored, or what is that?
They do have a honey one. I like the honey one, actually. Yeah. They have an apple one, too.
I think Jim Beam had a damn apple one. I thought it was fucking great.
Jim Beam has apple.
Fucking really good.
Yeah,
Jim
I like
Beam
that.
apple.
I drink that straight. That's nice.
So it's definitely artificially flavored, but it doesn't matter. It's a drinking experience, and it didn't cost you much, and it's quality. It's good. I mean, shit, there was some Brazilian shit that was low quality. We still drink it. You know that shit's rot gut. But, you know, so I have perspective. Pretty much all those American brands are safe to drink. And the flavor is going to be pretty good. Fucking Mad Dog 2020. Tastes good. Cheap ass.
That's what I mean. You can even buy like cheap shit from like 7-Eleven, and that'll be all right.
Yeah,
it'll be drinkable.
It'll be drinkable. Yeah, Mad Dog tastes great.
Which, like I said, if you think
that's
about
a wine.
Like I said, watching these shows from like when they were particularly like when booze was like illegal or when they didn't really know how to make it or there wasn't really any good sanitation. It's like people were basically drinking just straight fucking alcohol that was like nothing was filtered out. It's like they were using the same water that people pooped in. It's like, you know what I mean? So people can piss and moan all they want about this is better than that, but it's just kind of like our cheapest shit nowadays would be like 100 times better than what they had. Yeah. Because it's like they're getting fucking dysentery and shit just from drinking that crap.
This tablet I have in my hand, the richest man in the world, Howard Hughes, back in the 60s, didn't have access to this. That would have blown his fucking mind. Okay? Howard Hughes, one of the first men, had air conditioning in his house, in one of his houses. And that blew people's fucking minds. All right? Just, you take shit for granted. All right?
Yeah.
I could go back to the fucking 1300s and show this to the fucking Pope in Rome. All right?
And they would have you killed.
Well, they either that or just blow their fucking mind. Okay?
Witch!
No, or just tell them that, no, I'm God. You know?
Do you think they'd be like, oh, fair enough.
Show them a laser beam or something, you know what I mean? Fucking.
Yeah, you could get up to all kinds of shit.
And then the first one that talks shit, you blow his ass away with a 45, you know what I mean? Fucking, and then they go, oh, I guess he is God.
Oh, yeah, shit.
I struck him down just with my finger. Pow. He's empty, get him. Pow. Oh, shit. Pow, 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 pow. Oh, shit. He is God. See how fast he reloaded?
Yeah, you could get away with all kinds of shit like that. That's like pretty funny. Yeah. I would seriously, if I went back in a time machine in the Middle Ages, I'd get burned for a witch like within seconds. I'm sure.
I don't think so. You showed up, especially first of all, if you were to go back to that era, for your age 50, they would not believe you were 50.
Well, I have all my teeth and all my hair,
and you'd be clean, and the clothes. They would think that you were. They would think you were probably in your late 20s, your 30s, and they would also think that you were some kind of a noble, somebody with a lot of money. So they'd be scared of you. They'd probably be kneeling and shit.
Ooh, I could probably work that.
Kneeling like, oh shit, you know.
I could work that.
Who are you married to? You know, be calling you my lady and shit.
Nice.
And if you
get used to that.
If they could understand what you were saying, you could probably say some shit to them and just blow their mind. You know, oh wow, you know. I don't think they'd attack. Because when you look at the witches, it was usually some old woman, old hag, or somebody who was somebody's enemy, or you know.
I don't know if they'd know what I was saying, man.
Yeah.
The way I talk.
You could probably make yourself understood. You could tell me you were a foreigner.
He's from Barcelona.
Yeah.
Mr. 88 said, David Lee Roth did a bluegrass version of Jump. Not sure what brought that on. You know what that reminded me of? Today, another song that they played for me at work was Dolly Parton covering Stairway to Heaven. Have you ever heard of that?
No.
It was actually quite awesome.
Yeah.
I mean, I was kind of expecting it to be awesome because, hey, I like Dolly Parton and I like Stairway to Heaven. Mm-hmm. But, yeah, it was like really cool. You should like look it up on YouTube. You'd probably dig it.
Yeah,
you'd probably dig it. I do too. Yeah, she's awesome.
Hot.
So yeah, she's also hot, pretty hot.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's the thing, and I was just kind of like, I'm surprised. I was like, how did I not know this existed? Because I like Dolly Parton stuff. But yeah, she did a cover of Stairway to Heaven, and it's actually quite cool. Mr. 88 said, by the way, I've not been on many live streams the past 6 months because my wife came home on hospice in late August. I was her caregiver. She passed away in December.
Oh, sorry to hear
that.
At
just 47.
Wow.
Today would have been our 27th anniversary.
Unfortunate, man.
Man, that is like really sad. I'm really sorry.
Well, it must have been cancer?
I'm imagining, yeah.
Something like that. Yeah, we've had...
Yeah, he said, don't want to be a downer. Just want to let you know.
Man, we've had...
If it was cancer, cancer.
We've had good friends die of that.
We've had, just in the past couple of years, we had two friends young.
Young ones.
One was 34, and the other one, I think, was 29.
Yeah. Pretty girls.
Yeah, died of cancer also.
Pretty goth girls.
That's, like, terrible. Yeah, leukemia, he said.
It's like blood bone marrow cancer, I think, right? Yeah.
Like, one of ours, she died, Kaylee died of stomach cancer, yeah?
Yeah, and it spread to her intestines and all up in her.
And Amber died of...
Amber had cancer all over her.
I thought she had, she had uterine
started
cancer.
Uterine, and then it went everywhere else.
Yeah.
Poor girl.
Young, like I said.
And they were
she
pretty.
Was just in her 20s.
Both of these girls were really pretty.
And like I said, really young. So like it sucks, man.
Yeah.
That's got to be like some kind of fucking genetic thing, like dying that young.
Well,
like I said, I had an uncle that died of brain cancer, and he was only 32.
I think some of that uterine cancer can actually start from viruses like HPV and things like that.
Some of them. That's why they're trying to. That's why they're doing the vaccination nowadays. But smells like honey, tastes like brine. My wife just came back from the hospital, got appendicitis at 75. Imagine that. You know, now that I think about it, I'm pretty sure I still have my appendix, because a lot of people get them removed, right?
Yeah, but you had to have an operation for that.
Well, yeah, I know that, but
you would know if you had an operation for that, right?
Well, unless I was a kid.
No,
I feel like I knew some people that had it like done. I still have my tonsils as well.
I had mine removed.
I know. I think most people had them.
I don't think it does anything though. I think it was some bullshit they just tried to sell people.
I don't know, but like I said, I still got mine.
Your insurance covered it. They just wanted that money.
I guess.
Take his tonsils out. He won't get as sick. Well, they're in there for a reason. Come on.
Well, see, that's what I always kind of figured. I was like, well, nature put that there.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not saying that it's like everything we have is for a reason, because we have a lot of like leftover shit that doesn't do anything, because, you know, we're just a collection of leftover shit.
I was circumcised at birth. Just because that's what they did back then.
Well, that's what they did. Well, I don't know about nowadays.
Yeah.
But Pookie's running away. She's like, circumcision, bye. But
fuck all that.
She don't want to talk about it. She doesn't know what that is. But yeah, I actually didn't realize until like a few years ago that I don't know if they ask you, but I thought they just like default.
Yeah, they did back in those days.
Which is weird. Why? Well, like you'd think that like they'd give you the option.
They just did it automatically.
I'm not a fan. I don't really think they should do that. This is the
explanation that I got. Is that in that era, the doctors were Jewish, or they were educated by Jewish professors, and that they just did that automatically, as it was health, and it also religion, because the covenant is keeping up the covenant with God. And Jews and Christians worship the same God, so you just did it automatically.
Well, I always heard, but I always heard like, oh, it was cleaner, and then there was a whole thing. Then so many people had it done that parents were worried that their kids would get made fun of if they didn't get it done, because they look different than other kids at gym or whatever. And so it's like, oh, well, we better do it because we don't want our son to get made fun of. So then it became like a feedback loop. I don't know. I don't have any children, so I don't know what the state of affairs is nowadays. But I just thought that was like always a weird thing to do. Well, because I feel like, remember in the 80s when there was kind of like a fad for, if you had a baby girl, oh, let's pierce her ears while she's still a baby. I'm like, why the fuck would you do that? And it's like, that's kind of like a more minor version of circumcision. It's like, why would you just like, oh, we had a baby, let's cut parts off of it. That's like, why would you do that? It's like, if they want to cut parts off later on, okay, fine. But it's like, they can't make that decision.
It doesn't make any difference, though, being born.
I mean, it doesn't, but
being born, that way, I didn't know any different than, of course, I have sex, I enjoy it. Doesn't.
Yeah, you don't know any different. But I'm just saying, it just seems like a weird thing to do. Like, I just feel like if I'd ever had a kid like that was a little boy, I'd be like, yeah, I would. I don't know. I just think I'd rather not. I'm like, let's just not cut into the kid. Okay, just as little as possible.
I think it was just
seems strange.
I think it had to do with the original covenant.
I know it did. I know that's where it came from. But I'm just saying that
they assumed, or they believed, that because it was in the covenant, that and it maybe would avoid some infections by doing that. That it was God's wisdom. So yeah, that's what you do.
Right, but
that's just
Yeah, but like I said, coming from somebody who was not raised religiously, and religion doesn't make a lot of sense to me. So I'm just kind of like, well, from a practical standpoint, it's like, I don't really want to have a baby and then just have him like cut pieces off.
Here's the trip, though. God in his wisdom tells you to remove his foreskin.
Or for an imaginary reason.
Okay. God in his wisdom tells you to remove your foreskin, that way to avoid infections and to prove your loyalty. Okay. but for some reason, it just doesn't have you born without the foreskin.
Well, see, that was what always bothered me. It's like, well, if he didn't want you to have it, why do you have it then?
It's added protection.
That's what I'm saying. The shit doesn't make any sense.
You're gonna lose some sensitivity.
The shit is there. Like I said, not
everything prevents you from being a 1 minute wonder.
I mean, not everything on your body has a purpose. Okay, we do have like vestigial like organs and things like that because, like I said, we're kind of a kludge together, conglomeration of like our past ancestry going back to the animal kingdom and beyond. So it's like we have a bunch of shit left over that doesn't do shit. I get that, but I'm just kind of like, I'm a big advocate of like, let's just leave it there unless if something goes wrong with it, then we'll deal with it down the line. But it's like, let's not just have her pop right out to, have him pop right out the womb and start like chopping pieces off. It just seems a little bizarre to me. I'm just saying. I don't know. I'm no shade if like you want to do that. I'm just saying that because that's your decision, I suppose. But I don't know. It just seems weird to me because, like I said, I wasn't raised religious, and it's like it doesn't make any sense to me. Yeah, Mr. 88 said about his wife, she was a superstar. She's getting permanent memorials at the middle school she taught at, the university she got her doctorate at, and the hospital she worked at. Holy shit. That's awesome. I mean, I feel really bad about it, but, that is awesome that it's like she's going to be remembered like that. So.
How long has the show been going on?
Wow, 2 hours and 50 minutes.
I had that 3 hours.
I can't believe I held out for this long. Well, once I started drinking, I felt better.
Yeah. What time is it?
10:16.
Okay.
I mean, I feel okay. I'm just really tired.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I'm just really tired because I woke up really early. For some reason, I wake up. Technically, I have to leave to get to work on time about 6:45. Just to be on the safe side. But for some reason, I always wake up at like 4:30 because I'm like, oh well, if I get up early, then I'll have time to like get ready and like do some work and shit like before I leave, and I'll have plenty of time so I can just like I don't have to rush because I hate having to rush. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. So I always like wake up at fucking 4:30. So I don't know. So at least tomorrow I can fucking sleep in, but I'm sure I probably won't. I'm sure I'll probably wake up at fucking 6 or 7 a.m. just like always and be like doink, which sucks.
All right, let's go ahead and shut it down, Jim.
You gonna shut it down?
Yeah, go ahead and shut it down.
I'm gonna go have some Little Debbies.
Yeah.
And watch the rest of that show, I guess.
Okay.
Well, I mean, I'll probably like put that show on and then fall asleep in like 10 minutes because I'm probably like gonna get really tired. Yeah, Oscar said, shut this bee down. Yeah, I'm actually really glad that we went this long because I was having a good time, but you know what I mean. All right, so we will be back on... We'll do a show on Sunday because, like I said, we were supposed to do a movie review about Gattaca because we watched it, but we haven't done the review yet. So we should do that on Sunday. And then we'll get to these ones too. Like, it might not be Tuesday, but it might be like the following week, you know what I mean? But we'll get to them as soon as possible. So thank you very much, Louis, if you're still here, for sending them to us. Right?
Yeah, I'm going to get on them.
Yeah, we'll watch them.
Yeah.
We'll watch them. But we got to do Gattaca first because we've already watched that. And I already got notes for that and everything like that. So we'll probably do that on Sunday. So we'll see you guys again on Sunday. Thank you, everybody, for dropping by. Thanks for super chats. Remember to like and share and all of that other... And comment, too, because that's that also helps as well. So, yeah, we will see you guys again on Sunday. Good night.